Scott Narver, WrestleMania is in the books, and for only the third time ever, real brothers fought at WrestleMania.
Jake Lloyd Bacon, what a WrestleMania it was, and I can't believe that we saw real brothers fight again. And you know what they should do from this point on.
Oh, I think we have the exact same idea.
On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Go back to fake brothers. WrestleMania 40 review today on Pro Wrestling Palskis.
Hey there, Scott Narver.
Hey, Jake Lloyd Bacon.
Hello to everybody joining us out there on this very special episode of Pro Wrestling Palskis. WrestleMania is in the books. It's still hot. It's still, you could still feel a little bit of the sizzle. We're going live Monday morning, where we would generally be with our very exclusive elite members of the Pro Wrestling Palskis Patreon. But we opened this bitch up wide today.
Yeah, we went to the bottom feeders. All the shrimp are available to show up and just take all the little scraps that are left over for free.
So thanks to everybody tuning in for this, patrons and non-patrons. Before we get into all the things, and there's all the things to get into, we must, of course, acknowledge him. Current PWP World Champion, Strong Style, a.k.a. Gaines. Current PWP champ. If you would like to challenge Gaines for that title for next month, you got to become a championship level patron over at patreon.com/PWPalskis before the first episode of May. Hi, Scott.
Hi, Jake.
Hi. We have, unlike other recordings, we didn't do a pre-show today. We didn't really do any chatting whatsoever about Mania.
No.
So we're generally, I think you and I kind of have a vibe of like, all right, well, I kind of know where he's coming from today and kind of know where you landed and where your thoughts are. But this is fresh today. This is
we had a bit of knowing how we felt the vibes and such for night one.
Sure.
Because we both were in Discord.
Yes.
With jokes galore.
Yes.
And I'd give a laughy emoji to Jake, and Jake would often give me the good work.
Yes.
Which is saying,
good
which
work.
is equivalent of, oh, that's funny.
Good work. Well done. Well done.
And it's just a deflating, like, if it was funny, you'd laugh.
Oh, I'm sorry. To me, it's even better than the laughy. To me, it's the like,
is it
A+. Like, this is me giving like, oh, fantastic.
Then you should put an A+ emoji on there.
I'm sorry. To all the people in the Discord who I say good work to, I feel like now you guys like, oh, he's such a dick. And I think I'm being like, this person's
good work.
This person's really going to know how much I appreciate them.
It doesn't read that way to me. I'm curious if it does for anybody else, but
right.
Good work. From you and your old man sweater is like, good work.
Another thing really quickly, just because this is Monday the 8th, in the afternoon, Chris Daria 7, as we know him, in the chat here says, may pop in and out to go stare at the sun. There is going to be a solar eclipse here in like an hour. We may just take like a quick 5-minute little, maybe not even 5. There might be a moment where we'll be back in a second. Just
a total eclipse today, huh?
Heart.
I have been privileged to go to many live wrestling events. I've also had the privilege to have many ringside seats available. I've gone to plenty of WWE shows, and I have seen the Big Show and tag matches, and I've seen them standing on the apron. So I've had my fucking fair share of total eclipses, and I am over it. I don't care.
I mean, considering how your complexion is with this webcam and the room and the lighting, you don't see. It doesn't look like you see much of the sun at all.
We're talking about the sun?
You live in an eclipse.
I am an eclipse.
All right. Well, one last little like businessy disclaimer thing before we get into it. All right.
This is about your taxes?
Yeah. All I want to say is Jimmy Carr is innocent, but there are a lot of opinions about WrestleMania. If for whatever reason it's like Mania season and you got hooked into wrestling and now you're checking out a new wrestling podcast and maybe you're not familiar with us or maybe you're new to this, like there's no point in two nerdy artsy performers like Scott and I talking about wrestling and just going, that was good, well that wasn't good, and then moving on. We nitpick. That's what we do. This is the nitpick nation here. That's kind of the point of the show. So I want to say we have no intent on yucking anybody's yum. Whether you hated it and you're like, oh, I came here to make sure that they hated it as much as we did, or whether you loved it and you're like, well, why do you have something negative to say about it? Why can't it just be good? Because that's what we do. That's the point of the conversation. That's the aim of our show, is to sort of dissect things from a performer's standpoint, presentation,
or storyteller, director, writer standpoint.
Exactly. So that's my disclaimer up ahead is we have a wide spring of emotions reacting out of this weekend. And listen, wrestling's for everybody, and everybody gets something different out of it. And I think that's why we all love it. With that said, what a piece of shit. No, I'm kidding.
But still USA number one.
Yeah, USA number one, obviously.
So, wrestling's for everybody in the world. It's international. Yeah, but USA number one, okay?
All right. So my first thing is,
and we're nicer people than Bubba Ray Dudley. So if you're listening to his podcast, just know that he's a piece of shit human being.
Yeah. That was I didn't need that. I was, you know what? I was excited. I was like, oh, this is fun. A thing that wasn't announced. That's just like a fun. Do more of that, but not with him. Do it different.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Same. Hard right? Same.
Yeah. I was so excited that they
Tommy
did that.
Dreamer was around.
It's just. It was
even though him and Karrion Kross kind of look similar at this point.
Do they? Tommy Dreamer wishes.
Well, yeah. That's what I'm saying. There's a in time. It's a young Doc Brown and an old Doc Brown.
So right off the bat, the first thing I want to get into is, on night one, Michael Cole says, I'd like to say that we should call this the Triple H era. And then on night two, Stephanie McMahon's like, it's finally the Paul Levesque era. And I'm like, oh, they haven't decided on what they want to call this.
And it was constant for 2 nights of a show. I know it was said at the Hall of Fame as well. Like, for fuck's sake, I'm already over this whole, let's label the era.
It's been 48 hours.
You know what was fucking great about WrestleMania 14?
No.
GR didn't speculate the entire night about what the era is going to be. Stone Cold beats Shawn Michaels and he goes, the Austin era has begun. That's it.
That's part of it now, though.
Doesn't say it anymore. Doesn't go on.
You mentioned the Hall of Fame. Did you, before we even get into the Mania night, did you watch Hall of Fame on SmackDown evening?
No, I partook in catching up on a bunch of the shows on Raws and SmackDowns. They all kind of blurred together at some point. And the only other thing I partook in was Bray Wyatt becoming immortal.
Oh, so you also watched that?
Because I wanted to feel good.
Oh, all right. Well, you know what? I didn't see that yet. I'm excited about it, but we did get a hotline call about that. Actually, from the aforementioned Chris Daria 7. Do you want to hear what Chris Daria had to say about this on the hotline?
As he says in our chat, hashtag proud to be a shrimp. Let's play it.
Hey, Palskis. This is Chris Daria 7 from Fort Worth, Texas. And I'm sending this before WrestleMania. So I hope I can make the live stream with y'all. You'll know from there when it happens.
Here. It did it.
Before everything gets going, I just wanted to send this message and let y'all know that I was able to catch the Bray Wyatt Becoming Immortal documentary, and I couldn't let an episode go by without talking about it and asking if y'all saw it and your thoughts on it, because it broke me in ways that I wasn't expecting. I thought I had grieved that passing already, but man, it just came right back with everything. The doc does a beautiful job of telling the story of his life, how he affected people, and really getting into the genius of some of what he was able to do, talking with his best friend, who was also his chief designer, I guess you could say, for all the masks and gear and puppets and everything else. So I hope you guys got a chance to watch it with everything going on with the wonderful world of wrestling. And I hope I want to know what your thoughts are on it and how they did with it. And there's a little bit of a tease at the end, spoilers, that the legacy might continue. And I want to know your thoughts on that too. If we might see more from the Bray Wyatt universe after his passing, some posthumous stuff might be coming out. Bo might be taking that on. Who knows? So, yeah, I know this is a bit rambly, but I'm talking about Bray Wyatt, so it fits. All right, y'all, keep doing what you do and loving who you love. Peace.
Chris Darius Evans. So, yeah, he says that it kind of hit him all over again. And that's, I think, maybe why I haven't watched it yet, is because I'm sort of like not emotionally ready for it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because you know the ending. So
yeah, I want to watch it, and I'm sure it's beautiful, but I think I've been like kind of putting it off almost.
You want the Dark Side of the Ring version first.
Of course, obviously. Doesn't everybody?
I think it's very well done, without question. There's, as you alluded to earlier, there's one nitpicky thing that needs to be mentioned, because they overly mention it on screen.
What's that?
At a minimum 4 times, if not more.
Okay.
It's constantly letting you know this footage has never been seen before, and it's released from the WWE archives. Like, yeah, I got it. I got it the first time you said it.
That's how
I've never seen this footage before.
That's how movies work.
So that's, yeah.
Yeah, that's
keep fucking telling, they set something up and they're like, you've never seen this in your fucking life.
Yeah, WWE really likes to sell shit. Like, it's, we talked about it in our cold open where it's like, for only the 3rd time ever, brothers at Wrestle. Like, they always love to like put a hook on something to make it seem maybe a little bit more special than it is. And that's kind of what pro wrestling is at its core. But it does seem like at some point it becomes a little excessive.
Yeah, because it's a documentary that you haven't shown before with interviews with people that we haven't seen before.
Right.
So it's already starting as we've never seen Bo Dallas talk about yada yada. Like it already exists.
Yeah.
So
seems unnecessary.
Why you keep telling us this?
It's sort of like on night 1, we were talking in the Discord about how if you have Peacock Premium, they play ads for Wrestlemania at Wrestlemania. It's kind of that. It's like, I'm already here. We did it. You're done.
Yeah. Tell me about that. You have a Survivor Series.
There you go. Plus, play the song that says Survivor Series. You know the song WrestleMania.
It's a great documentary. They another nitpicky thing that I don't really know if they do this or not. They talk about at a point when Bray Wyatt's really frustrated and that he was difficult. Interesting. You get a few moments of, in between takes of footage of Bray, and it's like can we be done? Or that was good enough. Little snippets, and you go, are those totally out of context?
Right.
Were those when he was actually frustrated, or did you just find something to throw in to add to it?
Yeah.
So for a guy that died young, you're just like, don't pick on him.
Right. It's like, this doesn't need to be a behind the music. Like, not everything has to be like, things were good until they weren't. You know what I mean? Like, not everything needs the drama.
It doesn't have to match up. You could say he was frustrated.
Sure.
But I don't need to see him actually be upset sitting in a rocking chair.
Right.
It's nice to hear a lot of the talking heads that we get to hear from. Some are a little unexpected. Oh, yeah. There's a nice little feature on Brody within it.
Oh, nice.
Which is really nice on Brody Lee. Undertaker is not a great narrator.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting choice.
He's fine at times. When it gets really emotional towards the end and climactic, and I'd say like what should be a lower level downer of a moment, he's going, and then that's when this happened, and
Yeah, he's doing like Taker voice.
He just gets loud and bombastic.
Yeah,
and takery, not Mark, takery.
They should have got Stevie Richards to do it.
They should have. And there, as Daria said, there's a tease at the end, which was unusual for a WWE documentary.
Right.
That there's a
like a
to be continued and
a
teasing of a wrestling angle.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that is strange.
And it's like, oh, I was okay. So I don't know if are they just going to do it? Are they going to roll with it? Or are they waiting for everyone to give them feedback on Twitter?
Yeah.
And then they'll be like, well, we got 50,000 people that said they want it. We're going to do it.
Right.
I don't know. So that part was a little strange, and I felt just undercut everything I saw.
Right.
But if that's what the family wants and what they're doing, then that's great for them. Just as a viewer of a documentary, it felt like it was about Bray.
Right. Right.
So whatever.
Right on.
It's certainly worth a watch. It is, I say 3/4 of it. It's very informative and uplifting and nice. And then we get to the sad part.
Gotcha. Well, I still look forward to checking it out in due time. Did not watch it, but I did watch a bit of the Hall of Fame, and eventually at some point I just had to tap out, and I maybe I'll try it again. But Scott, you've been saying for years that they need to get the fans out of the Hall of Fame. I'm not that extreme. I liked it when it was like on the Raw stage and all of the wrestlers are in the front and everybody's dressed up, and it feels like there's an event happening over here. And if you're lucky enough, you can watch it from way over here. Like, I didn't mind that. I like that the honorees get to be there with members of the WWE universe and like get that moment with fans, because it's something that a lot of them haven't had in a while. But this was, this almost pushed me over the edge of like no fans anymore at all whatsoever. They were so distracting, so disruptive, and whoever's, I don't know if they're fucking miking the crowd for SmackDown like they do, but then not adjusting shit. The crowd was so loud through every single speech, and just like like you're at a party and there's just that level of talking that everybody's doing the entire time while someone's trying to give a really important speech. It was fucking unbearable. And I really like Bull Nakano. That it was such a sweet induction, and like she's struggling with English. I don't know why they didn't give NBC, Universal, Peacock, whatever, why they didn't give them the speeches, because they're all just on teleprompter. Why didn't you give them the speeches so that they could just write the speeches out for the closed captioning? Because I tend to put closed captioning on. And the closed captioning guy might as well have just written question mark for all of Bull Nakano's speech. Because
I mean, we've seen Shinsuke Nakamura lately doing these cinematic talking to Cody and being translated in real time. Where's that person?
Yeah. It was really, really distracting. Andrea Beeler in chat says, yeah, you could hear people talking, like legit talking 100%. It was so loud. And I actually watched it in headphones because it was late at night post SmackDown. We had kind of had a long day, and I was like, all right, I'm going to throw on, a little bit of this while we're laying in bed. So I just like had it on my phone and my headphones, just kind of listening. It was just fucking so annoying, so obnoxious that eventually I had to tap out. We need to get rid of the in the ring audience in the round. At minimum, we have to get rid of that. It's not working.
What about muzzles? If you attend the WWE Hall of Fame, you will be muzzled.
Do you think muzzles?
So you can clap.
Do you think muzzles prevent people and dogs and animals from talking? Is that what you think a muzzle does?
Yeah. I've never heard a dog say a sentence with a muzzle
on. You need better weed. Muzzles prevent like biting and eating, but you can still move your mouth in them. You can
also
talk in a muzzle.
potentially a problem at Hall of Fame.
Listen, fucking Bane wore a muzzle, and despite the fact that it was hard to understand him, you could still tell he was talking.
That wasn't a muzzle.
No? Yeah.
That was a Brita filter. Charcoal is your friend.
So yeah, I'm a little bummed that the Hall of Fame was a letdown because I wanted to. I don't know. I like those things still. They're still nice to me, and some of it seems a little vainglorious and a little bit like ridiculous. But I don't know. I want to like it. I think that's what it is. I want to like it.
Sure.
Yeah.
I want to watch them, but for years now I haven't, and I'm keeping the streak alive.
You have your own WrestleMania streak going on.
Yeah.
You're undefeated at Hall of Fame. All right. Well, night one, highlights, lowlights. What you want to chat about?
I think a little bit of painting of the picture. So night one, want to know where you were in company and what your setup was. So night one for me, I'll tell you real quick. I was at home. I was in this very room in this very chair with a cat hanging out right here who's being a terror right now. So she's outside the room. And then we're cat sitting Hucky as well. So Hucky is here laying on the bed as he was doing, sleeping, had snacks. And so just watched here, chill, and was happily chatting away on the Discord in real time and just chatting with everybody, doing jokes. And that added to the experience of what night one of WrestleMania was for me.
Sure, 100%. Same. Night one was mostly just spent in bed watching Mania on the bed, on the TV in the bedroom, with the laptop open on the Discord. It was just
so no cousin Paul. He wasn't in the bed too?
No. Well, I wanted to fit him in between Alexandra and I, but she thought it was weird, and I was like, I don't know why. No, I didn't make it to my cousins for night one. That was reserved for night two. But night one was just home, us, just Alexandra and I. Alexandra fading in and out throughout most of it. But it was a very enjoyable experience. Night one was definitely pales in comparison to night two, but I also didn't hate it as much as I think a lot of people were really had a lot of distaste for night one.
Distaste or disdain?
Both.
Okay. So Andrew Beeler in the chat says, totally agree, Scott. The Discord made night one even better for me.
Yeah, that's a must. That's a must do. Is getting on the Discord.
Yeah, when you're watching a 4 or 5 hour pre-show of WrestleMania,
right?
Chatting with people certainly helps. So let's run through it. Let's run through.
You got the card. You got the card in front of you.
I got the card. I got it from this little site called Wikipedia.
Ooh.
So let's check it out here. Thankfully, Triple H came out to talk and give the soundbite that was played not 3 minutes before of Welcome to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So he said it again.
Yeah.
That was a bit of the start of the night for me. I'm like, if this is what this is going to fucking be, that we have a moment and then we have it again.
Hey, No America the Beautiful, though.
Mind.
I'm not sure if you know this, Scott, but it's a new era.
That was the second night.
I know, but it still felt like, the national anthem. All right. That's new.
Well, tonight, yeah, I mean, they could have done the Canadian national anthem at this point for one of the nights, you know?
Should have.
Shoulda. Didn't. So we had him show up and then cut to the press conference later that he acknowledged that he was lucky enough to be able to come out and do it. You've put the show together. You did it, asshole.
You know what? But it's really lucky that he booked himself for that because he's a tough guy to book.
I still want to be out there and I still want to do it. I got to go get my boots.
Can you play the good song though? I want the good one. Don't play the other one. I want the good one.
You have too many songs. I don't know which one you want. The Lemmy one. Which Lemmy one?
There was one of those. I just saw a clip of it on social media at one of the 25 pre-show panel. It's WrestleMania weekend things where people were just chanting at him to spit water. They were just going, spit the water. And I was just like, that's good job, wrestling fans. Good job, wrestling fans.
My doctor says I can't anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
I have to take in all water and hydrate. We had Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch.
Man.
In our first match.
Fucking Becky Lynch with like a fever and strep just fucking going out there and wrestling still. That to me was like, I felt really bad for her. But also, it's a testament that she put on as good of a match as she did, considering that's how she was feeling.
I feel bad for her too, wearing her book.
I liked it. It was fun.
Having such a fever and going, I know what I should wear. My book.
Listen,
all around me.
gotta sell shit.
Did that work on you? Where you're like, well, I guess I got to read her book now
It did.
that she's wearing it.
It did make me want to read a little bit of it. Yeah.
Well, she moved too quickly. I couldn't read any of it while she was wrestling.
That's why you got to take your outfit off. Hey, talking about it.
Hey,
you got to take it.
read them knee pads.
Yeah.
Was written on there too.
Let me read them knee pads. That is the best fucking hookup line I've ever heard in my life. Hey, let me read them knee pads.
Well, I'm going to jot that down for later.
What are you doing?
I thought this was great. I think for me, Rhea is so great, so exciting right now, so energetic. There's no mailing it in with her. If she's mailing it in at any point, it is so difficult to tell.
Yeah.
Just she's living it and she crushed it. Becky was good too. So I was just really into this for that. I was glad the trajectory of Rhea is still continuing strong.
Yeah, this was well booked. This was a good decision. I'm glad that Becky didn't take this from her, even though I love Becky. And, I think Rhea is now at the beginning, well, maybe not the beginning, but, first act, end of the first act of where Roman was for the women's division. Like, they're really doing a great job of making this character really important. And it feels like that title is the more important title, even though, placement on the card and all that nonsense.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, even placement on the card for this, there's so much that happens with Judgment Day throughout all the WrestleMania nights that we have here. And
I also wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't them being like, let's get Becky done with so that she could go fucking rest and go to sleep. There's a possibility that they were like, Becky's like, listen, I took, fucking NyQuil AM and I have about 3 hours. So, let's get this shit done with.
And then next match, we have, oddly enough, presented by Vodka, the 6-pack tag team ladder match for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship. All due credit to Gilbert Short in our Discord and a listener. He was pulling out the nuggets of information that Michael Cole was throwing out there and saying, Scott, they're going to split up the tag team titles. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. That's crazy. That's stupid. But hey, that's what this whole match was, in my opinion.
I wasn't as poo-poo to the match to begin with as you was. I don't mind. I totally get your point about it's a tag team match. There's no tagging. I totally get all of that. Right. But I'm also
there was one tag. There was one tag. And the people loved it. Yeah. It's like they wanted tag team wrestling.
Yeah, that's a good point. But I wasn't as against the match. I still thought it was exciting. I think there was still too many teams. But I was like, all right, it'll be fine. But then when it was confirmed and there were fucking 2 sets of tag titles separated, hanging, that's when now the match was immediately ruined for me because one, you lose and win the match no matter who you are. So R-Truth and Miz won, but they didn't. They lost because this was a match for the SmackDown and the Raw tag team titles. So does it count as a win-loss on their record? Also, whoever wins first, Grayson Waller and fucking Waller Grayson, whatever the fuck, Austin. Cool. Congrats on getting your WrestleMania victory with no music playing, no celebration, because the match has to continue. Like, it was just fucking.
You just look dumb, going like, hey, we got half of them.
You just look dumb. And it makes it seem like those are less important now than the Raw ones. Because once
before they've done this where they have one of each title
right
on the hanging contraption, and you bring it down and it's acknowledging that you got both.
Yes.
So when they split it up, the furthering of the annoyance to me was, why couldn't you have done, if you want to have a spectacular match of ladders, okay, then Judgment Day versus Awesome Truth.
Yep.
Have Awesome Truth beat them, be decisively. They are the tag team champions that won in a ladder match. They are the undisputed tag team title holders.
Right.
And then R-Truth is a stupid character and makes dumb decisions and can just sign a contract, do whatever, where he does something in the next month or two where he puts half the titles on the line.
Right.
So then you can split them up. If you want to get half the titles onto another team because you're going to do whatever with A-Town Down Under, they can lose that half.
Sure.
And they still have the other half, but you've ultimately still made one tag team by having them go over on the other tag team. So the leveling up also happens that we obviously get to at the end of the night of all of this, that it's just pushing people forward rather than muddling in. It's like Judgment Day kind of didn't really lose.
Right.
Can I pitch thwarted by other teams?
Can I pitch another angle? Just because they're the undisputed tag champions, it doesn't mean that they're still not holding two sets of two titles. And those two titles are two respective shows. There's no reason why Alex Pierce and Magnus.
Listener Alex Pierce?
Oh, shit. I'm sorry. You know what the fuck I'm talking about. Adam Pierce and...
Yeah. He's been a long-time Patreon.
Yes. Patron
of the show.
There we go. Yeah.
He's a great listener.
Okay. Let me finish.
Alex Pierce, wonderful. So what do you have Alex Pierce do? And then maybe Alice Rader?
Yes.
You want her involved in this decision as well?
Yeah. The famous team of Pierce and Rader. No, you've got Adam Pierce and you've got a guy whose name I still can't pull right now. Because I'm fucking exhausted because I've just watched 25 hours of wrestling. You have them have their own shows.
You had it, Brutus Magnus.
Thank you. Respective number one contenders, right? Well, here's a SmackDown Championship number one contenders. That's great, but here's the Raw number one contenders for tag team titles. You have both of them saying like the undisputed champions need to face somebody at Mania, and then you have them being like, well, guess what? You're going to face our number one contenders for the Raw tag team titles because that's who's the number one contenders are for those titles, not for the whole thing, because that's a different division. The Raw tag division is different than the SmackDown tag division if they are separate shows. And then you simply just have one night they have to face one and one night the other, or you do the whole thing where it's like, if you really want to save face for Damian Priest and, he didn't get pinned or not, make them have both matches on the same night. They have to have two matches back to back. They have to have one for the SmackDown titles against whoever they number one contenders are, and then the other ones with Raw. And also, the story was always for fucking R-Truth and Judgment Day. Like, it had R-Truth still didn't get to really beat Judgment Day, right? Like, even if he didn't pin Priest, if he would have at least pinned Finn, I think that would have been so much more rewarding. I'm happy. I'm happy they won. Truth is great, and it was sweet, and you can tell how much it meant. And again, they sell everything for the first time ever at WrestleMania. R-Truth won.
Those guys didn't take crazy ladder bumps.
Yeah,
that's why.
So yeah, the match had a couple moments in it that I liked, of course, because it's this guy's doing good stuff. But at the end of the day, I think that this could have been better for a lot of the teams involved.
Yeah, I don't think it helped put anybody over. I don't think it established anyone further. It was a nice lucky win that Miz and Truth win, but they didn't decisively beat.
Yep.
I agree with the R-Truth point. It's like he didn't beat them, he didn't best them.
Right.
It's less than what it could have been.
A little bit less than, for sure.
Then next up, we had Rey Mysterio and
stop you there really quickly. It's getting a little dark outside. I think we're starting to eclipse over on this side.
Oh, future's so bright, you got to wear shades.
So it was Mysterio and
Rey Mysterio and Andrade, former AEW pro wrestler, one of the four here that had a very prominent spot in WrestleMania.
This was a great night for AEW. I mean, like, their talent really excelled tonight.
It's huge.
Yeah. Or the weekend, I mean.
With the Latino World Order in their corner and some Philadelphia Eagles, apparently, versus Santos Escobar and Dirty Dominic Mysterio. I think we should acknowledge now as well. I'm sorry that acknowledge is on my brain and I keep saying it. That's what happens when you watch fucking like 20 hours of wrestling in a row, all involving Roman Reigns.
It's going to be a lot of that.
So Dominic is now Dirty Dominic.
Yeah.
And also Bronson Reed, he's big now.
Big Bronson Reed?
He is.
We're
It's
gonna
not just a Vince thing.
You know what? We might have to do an episode one day about all things big in pro wrestling.
Yep, because there's another big. There's no other words that encapsulate the big. Just that.
By the way, I just want to say, I know that there's construction next door, and I can see out the window right now to the house that's being constructed, and all of the construction workers are outside right now taking photos of the eclipse with their cell phones, looking directly at it. Every single one of them.
Early retirement, fellas.
There's 10 guys out there all doing this right now, holding their phones up. Oh, we have fun.
So I thought this was fine.
Yeah.
Like it had its place on the card of, hey, we need a little buffer in between something that was fucking crazy. And we're going to be getting into a family feud here. So kind of a feel good match, and you have more family feud going on with father versus son again. I think this was a reminder for me, especially, and I think for many fans out there that have double dipped in AEW and WWE, seeing Andrade and seeing that Andrade was so impressive in NXT and doing so much great stuff. Hops over to AEW, and for me, I was like, yeah, this guy used to do a lot of cool shit, but now it's just all over the map.
Yeah.
So watching this match, he does some impressive things, but it's just contained.
Yes.
It's not,
Yeah.
hey, I want to do 40 things. That's nice. You can do 4.
Honestly, he looks like a fucking star in there. With like, out of everybody in this group, I know Ray's like already a Hall of Famer, but like, out of everybody in this group, and there's a lot of guys in there who are insanely talented and I think are great wrestlers and who I'm invested in. But that dude is just, he looks like a fucking star amongst this entire.
I like Santos a lot too.
I really do love Santos. I've talked about, like, he's got a great look. In fact, the two of them.
He's so much more fitting as a heel.
Yes.
I think I checked out when he was a face, and so it's like, yeah, you're kind of generic and nothing there, but he's got a good sneer.
He has like a Sabu sneer.
Oh, Sab Sneer.
Sab Sneer. No, that's one of the guys from the group with Jinder Mahal. But yeah, this was fun. I mean, it was unoffensive. It wasn't. I wasn't invested. I didn't care. But it was a good showing for everybody, and another like 2 giant stables and
weird fucking ending.
Very weird ending, though. Yes, very weird ending.
That 2 masked guys come out, and you go, those look like white guys.
Yeah.
And Pat McAfee on commentary going, 2 legends, and I'm going, I can't tell. Or those guys from the Hall of Fame, that can't be the U.S. Express. That doesn't make sense. Why the fuck would they?
I mean,
take off the masks, and then McAfee's going off how they're Philadelphia Eagles.
I'm
going, why did the Philadelphia Eagles do more than Carlito?
I don't watch football at all. The second that they popped up on screen, I went, oh, I guess these are Eagles players. I just said it immediately. I guess these are Eagles players. They're in the Eagles colored Ray masks, and they look like Eagles players. And the thing that I could think of was like, are there like no Latinx members of the Eagles that could have come? You found the 2 biggest, whitest guys.
Yeah, 2 white saviors to come in
for the
out.
LWO. Like,
that was
was kind of fun watching the LWO in there with these 2 dudes. But yeah,
I thought you probably could have had those guys show up in another match.
Yeah,
this didn't seem like the one, because there's no connective tissue for this.
No.
Like,
feel good.
I haven't seen all the shows, but is Andrade like, I can't wait to go to Philadelphia. The Eagles are just the best.
Right.
And then, we get into Jay Uso versus Jimmy Uso. And we also get into some heavy into the sponsorship. So I want to bring up one thing real quick when it comes to the sponsorships that I don't think I brought up in the Discord, but it's been plaguing my mind all weekend.
Yeah.
Dude Wipes.
Yeah.
Was a prominent sponsor.
Oh, they were everywhere. We were talking a lot about Dude Wipes here.
Of WrestleMania 40. Dude Wipes being a sanitizing wipe that you use for when you go to the bathroom to wipe your backside. How is it that WWE, a company that right now is dealing with allegations with their former boss and owner, who is accused of shitting on a former employee's head, that then all empowered WWE right now go, you know what we should get as a sponsor and throw it all over our WrestleMania? Dude wipes. That's a good idea.
You know, I didn't put those things together, and I don't think most people did. I think you have a unique mind where you're always looking for the comedic connective tissue. Right?
And that tissue is dude wipes.
Boom. There it is, kids. There it is. Do you want to talk? Do you want to,
That's crazy, don't you think?
it's no different.
There's so many candy bars. They had fucking like 4 drinks.
Yeah, and every candy bar looks like a poo. So how come you ever see a Snickers fall in a pool? Guess what? That shit looks like poo.
Why did they do Ruth that? Is the joke.
I know. I get what you're doing.
They had 4 fucking drinks. They had Agua Frescas and fucking Prime and
I know.
Vodka
Beverage.
and gin and juice.
Do you want to play a little
dude wipes?
Want to play a little hotline call we got about the ads?
Sure, let's hear from Vince talking about dude wipes.
Because you weren't the only one who was really heavy on the ads.
Hey guys, it is Mask Llama of the Legendary Fighting Federation, aka Spits of Retribution. And I'm calling in with my night 1 thoughts. It is currently a couple hours until night 2, so I've had a little time to reflect. And overall, my main takeaway is, man, excessive advertising sucks. Like, they starting to flash up tiny ads in the upper left corner of the screen. Very distracting. The ring apron thing, I could get used to the ring apron as long as the ad colors were muted. When it was bright white like the hot wings, it was very distracting, takes away from the action, takes away from the wrestling. The Prime logo in the center, I can handle. It's fine. It takes in used to. When Logan Paul announced it, I thought it was like just a heel heat thing, and then some babyface would come along and be like, nope. But then it's on the turnbuckles. It's on the ring posts. It's on the ring apron. It's on the ring mat. Like, are you not getting enough money from your attendees? And here's a terrible thought that was brought up on a Discord. When the contract expires, are you going to have to blur all these out in future releases? Man, I hope not. That would just be a mess. And I kind of used to think that it would give the thing a big fight feel. No, I was wrong. I was so wrong. Gunther's match didn't have ads. Not nearly as many. The ring apron still said WrestleMania. I wonder if there was a thing where it's like, no, like to Gunther, the ring is sacred and it should not be sullied by excessive advertising. Yeah, that's my main takeaway. Ads suck. Were the matches good? Man, I don't know. I was constantly distracted by all the ads.
So there's Mass Llama. He did continue, and we'll play that a little bit later to actually talk about some other stuff, but
he was swearing at the end.
Oh no.
Did it? I don't know. Fuck.
So yeah, obviously we'll get to the Usos match in a moment here, but yeah, let's talk about the ads. There were a lot. I guess I just wasn't as bothered by these as everybody else was. Maybe because I'm, I guess I'm not surprised, or it doesn't seem that unique to me. It seems like this is how most sports are. I mean, like any sport you watch, there's always a fucking ad. There's always a brand next to the score on the top left or bottom of the screen at all times. I will say I agree with, like, depending on the color of the ad, when it's wrapped around this ring apron on the LEDs, I could get that is a little distracting. Like, it almost seems like the brighter it is, the more problematic it was.
America
like, for
Home
focus.
Shield doing the main event of 9-1 was very obtrusive.
Yeah. And so
like that was the one I noticed the most of, like,
right.
Ugh.
Yeah. It's,
what am I looking at?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Some of it did, but also the way I'm thinking of it is like, I don't know, fucking rising tide raises all ships. If this is more money for the company, then hopefully it's more money for the talent and more money for everybody else. Like, I don't know. I like to think that this is good for business. It's just, this is good.
That's good for executives and non-smiling Nick Khan in the crowd.
The Prime logo probably bothered me more than all the apron shit, to be honest with you. And I'm glad that it wasn't in color. I think in the first night when he did it, it was like in full color on the mat. And this time it was just the black outline, which I thought was nice. Was it not in full color that first night?
I think it was a black outline for both.
Okay, I'm misremembering. But yeah,
I mean, there's bottles and shit everywhere.
Yeah,
so.
that to me was more annoying than all the extra shit. Was the stuff on the mat. But
with Endeavor doing this and, all things UFC, that seems like they're going to go full on with all this. It's like, the more advertising, the better, because UFC has all that stuff where there's multiple endorsements on the mat.
Yeah.
So while I'd like to not see it all the time, it's going to be there. It's going to be a thing.
Yeah.
Whether during the Vince era that he was more restrained when it came to a lot of advertising during the match.
Right.
I'd like to think he was, because we didn't see a whole lot of it. We saw it around.
Right.
But I think there's probably a better way for some of the wraparound stuff. I think they could do it a little bit better at times.
Can I say, clearly certain matches were had a sponsorship to them, and others, I don't think there was any Gunther no, the ring is sacred. Some matches just flat out weren't. Right.
I don't know if it's up to the advertisers that they want to buy whatever it is, but
to me, the apron is more irritating than the ring barricade. Because the barricade to me, maybe it's because I watch hockey, it feels like, that's where ads should go. It's along the outer wall. And I feel like, I don't know, that to me seemed unintrusive. But when it was on the apron, directly connected to where the wrestlers are standing on, that to me was also like, oh, if I'm going to take one and get rid of the other, I'd take it off the ring apron. You can keep it on the fucking posts, because those come and go depending on the shot, and, keep it on the barricade. But I don't know about the whole blurring thing. That's not going to happen. Like these contracts, that's actually a selling point for these companies.
Yes, it will.
No, it's not. You
100%.
You think that
that's happened in UFC a number of times. So here's one example where it's going to have to happen. The video game.
Sure. The video game. Yeah.
The video game.
Sure.
That footage will be blurred without question.
Sure.
A few years down the line. And then another things too, like Team Punishment was Tito Ortiz's company.
Okay.
They had a falling out. So there were tons of shows that had Team Punishment logos on banners, on the mat, a bunch of places. And if they fall out of favor or they don't use them anymore in old footage, it's going to get blurred. It's WWE. They blur old shit. It's inevitably going to happen.
I just feel like it's part of the contract. It's like, if you're going to be sponsoring this live event, then you're getting that indefinitely. You're getting that advertising in perpetuity. And that's the value of it. That's probably why it's so goddamn expensive.
But when they don't want to advertise them anymore, they'll blur it.
Yeah.
Because the money's not going to keep coming in forever.
I think the only thing I agree on is I know, but that's what I'm saying. The contract is for this event. Anytime this event is shown, you will be the advertiser sponsor for that event. Therefore, anytime they use that footage, it's that event's sponsorship. And so I understand mixed media stuff. So obviously, if they show this in a video game, they're not going to have the rights for that, right? The sponsors aren't going to have the rights for that. And so therefore, they're not going to advertise on the video game unless they decide, sure, we'll pay you again for a video game fucking sponsorship. But other than that, I feel like
they don't do it with music. Yeah. They constantly go, oh, we're not going to pay for that anymore.
Yeah, but this is different. That's WWE paying people. This is people paying WWE. They're completely two separate things. It's not like WWE is paying these people for the rights to use the logo to Gin and Juice. Gin and Juice is paying, it's the other direction. So in those contracts, it's going to state like, my logo's on the fucking ring. Therefore, anytime we see this shot of fucking Cody winning, the Prime logo is going to be on the fucking ring. That's going to be there.
Yeah, but that has to expire. There's no way that goes on for all of time. Yeah. Because then WWE is like, guess what we're showing again on TV this week? You got to pay.
I think it's, if anything, it's a selling point for future advertisers. Like, look at this you get not just advertising for this evening, but you get literally advertising for as long as this runs. Yeah. But anyway, we'll see. I guess eventually we'll find out which one of us is correct on this thing. But yeah, I don't know if the ads, Andrea Beeler in the chats, I kind of agree with Jake there. So I got one on my side about the ads.
With what?
About, I think you
think, you don't know.
Well, she said that,
whatever.
She said that when I was discussing exactly where the ads can go that wouldn't be obstructive, and also that they're not as problematic.
Andrew, what did you agree on?
Stripes. Scott Narver, I'm going to do it. I'm sorry. I know it's probably annoying. I'm going to take a quick 2-minute little live break, if you don't mind, to go enjoy the darkness. So you want to revisit me here?
You're going to watch Jimmy and Jay again?
Yeah. I want to go. Well, you know what? That's what I'm going to go do. I'm going to go watch Jimmy and Jay, or I could go stare directly into the eclipse.
Okay.
Which one do you think is better?
The eclipse.
All right. So we'll be right back, live stream. And we're back. Hey, everybody. Thanks for putting up with that. God, I'm winded from the stairs. There's a lot of stairs.
Oh.
It feels like Melancholia out there. Remember that movie? Did you ever see that movie, Melancholia? It's fucking eerie and cold.
Do you mean My Stepmother is an Alien?
Yeah. What did I say?
Some melancholy. I don't know.
All right. Well, anyways,
got some clarification on the point you're talking about. Of you thought Andrea agreed with you about blurring on advertising. No, she said they were annoying on the apron.
Yeah. She agreed with me about everything. Yeah, she agrees with me about everything.
You don't even know who she is.
What happened? Who's that? Alice Rader?
Chris Daria also mentioned that in the chat that just tallied up all the wrestling you watched this weekend, and it's a lot. Hall of Fame, Death Before Dishonor, Rampage, Sakura Genesis, Stand and Deliver, Collision, Mania Night 1, Slammies, and Night 2.
That's a lot of wrestling. And I watched just 2 Manias and a little Hall of Fame, and I felt like it was too much wrestling. Andrew Biller says, was that exciting, Jake? And I feel like I'm reading it in like a patronizing way. Like, was that exciting, Jake? But it might just be legit. And yes, the answer is yes. I fucking love science. I'm a little bit bummed because I went out a little bit too early. It was still kind of, and I'm not in the area of totality for the eclipse, so it's only going to get to like 90%, but I think it was probably about 80 here. So it was still kind of like a nice big chunky sliver instead of that really slick little sliver that we're going to get. But it was very exciting. Thank you for asking, Andrea. I hope you're feeling better, by the way. Andrea was ill, just like Becky Lynch, all through Mania. I hope you're feeling better, Andrea.
I think she just got ill again from that rant.
Oh, God. All right. I'm back. All right, we're doing this. Jay versus Jimmy. The pre-match package was better than anything that they did in person. That was lovely. Very, very well done. I thought it was very
it was horrible.
Oh, I fucking enjoyed it.
The two that hate each other so much, and they're on a turntable and they don't want to fight, and they're saying lines about one another. That was stupid.
They shot those separately and then they superimposed them together because obviously they can't be in the same room.
No, that was dumb. That was the shits. Lil Wayne was the shits, who was labeled as the greatest rapper in the world by.
You talk about,
and then the match was the shits, and it's good it was sponsored by Dude Wipes because it was all the shits.
That's all we could think of the entire time. I was trying to imagine in the Discord if the advertisers get to pick what match they're the sponsors for, and if someone at Dude Wipes hasn't watched wrestling in 20 years and like, hey, you used to have a guy who shoved other men's face in his own ass crack, because that's a great sponsorship for Dude Wipes if we can get that guy on board. And WWE's like, well, he's not around, but his sons are actually fighting one another, and they went perfect. Dude Wipe that shit.
Shane Harline tweeted about that to Dude Wipes that, hey, if you don't get Rikishi coming out there with Dude Wipes on his behind, you're missing out. And then they'd responded.
Oh my God, really? I missed that.
They said they're working on it.
Oh, that's fantastic. Man, this match might have been the biggest letdown match of the entire weekend for me. I know that you had kind of low hopes going into it, but
yeah, I already knew it was not going to be good, and so it over delivered.
It to me, it way under delivered. I really thought these guys were going to have like something to prove and to like really like. I mean, God, it was just so bad. It was so boring and bad and uninteresting. And I guess
and fake.
If I wanted to
blatantly fake.
If I wanted to like attempt to find the good, I guess I could say, well, they tried something. They tried something unique. They tried something different. Like maybe if I have to give credit for like, hey, we tried to do something a little different. And then I go back to the negative going like, yeah, somebody should have known it wasn't going to be good.
Unique to what? Being on a WWE show compared to a PWG show?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. God, it was.
Or the Young Bucks? Like it was bad. Like they didn't, and this is the detriment of house shows, that they don't get to do this for months and months and months on a house show to figure out how this can actually work. I don't know if internally they were happy with it and all went well and handshakes galore and everything, but
yeah,
no,
it was a dud. It was such a dud.
It was bad. It was real bad.
If I can be honest with you, like I think it set both these dudes back quite a bit because I love the Usos. I think they're arguably one of the greatest tag teams of all time. And guess what? They're going to stay that way.
I'd argue that. I think they're very fun, but as singles, I've not seen them a lot. And the times that I have, Jay at least, is Jay bad at singles wrestling?
Maybe. I don't know. It's hard to tell.
I've not seen Jimmy a whole lot as singles.
Jay's whole like push as a single star was when there was no audience there to know whether or not it was connecting with them, you know? And I had it's funny. I think
we gotta make a mid-card Jay, I think.
Yeah. I had a conversation with Alexandra at some point.
Name drop.
I don't remember actually. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was my cousin or somebody. Well, somebody, of course, of the weekend talked about like they're overacting so much, and I was trying to justify like, here's the thing about all pro wrestling that we watch on TV is that there's two shows happening simultaneously. There's the shows for the cameras, and then there's the shows for the crowd. And in my opinion, the crowd show needs to take precedence because the crowd is the biggest character on screen, right? It's all about the reactions. And so I tried to say, like, yeah, you have to realize, like, the wrestlers are playing to the back of the room, just like a theater production. Like, so all the expressions need to kind of be bigger in order to sell to the crowd. And, you know, this is one of those instances where, Jay, there was never a crowd there to know whether or not his shit was working. It was only the show to the camera. And I think that maybe outside of his entrance and people liking him as a person and wanting to root for him, maybe it's just not connecting.
So when it comes to the show for the camera and the show for the crowd, who was the line yelled, "I'm your twin brother" for?
I think that was for the people in the the second row specifically, not the first row. They didn't care.
To catch them up and go like, they're twins.
Yeah.
I understand now.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was bad. The talking was bad. Everything about it was just stupid. Doing the same moves back and forth over and over again. Them not working.
It was wrong.
Is bad. Is bad. That goes into the watch along pile of maybe we'll watch one of the worst WrestleMania matches of all time, and I think this is up there.
I don't want to rewatch it, but I would do it for that purpose. Yeah.
Next up, we had you have an eclipse, but there was a storm that came. Jade Cargill, our second of our prominent AEW stars featured here. Bianca Belair, Naomi versus Damage Control, which consisted of Dakota Kai, Asuka, and Kairi Sane.
This match was fine. It was another one of those matches that it was unoffensive to me, but I also didn't get a ton of it. I think this was really a good showcase for Jade. She definitely looked great. She didn't have to do a ton, which was good. I think this is what we expected when we did our rundown of WrestleMania last week. I think this is exactly what I anticipated it to be.
Yeah, this is what it should have been. It shouldn't have been anything else. It shouldn't have been Damage Control, like getting a one-up on beating Naomi and Bianca and Jade going like, oh, we lost?
Right.
This stinks. I guess we're not a good trio. It's get them out there, have a flashy entrance, have Jade show up at the end and whoop everybody's ass and look impressive. Like, job well done.
Right.
And it served its purpose. As you said, unoffensive, like, just great. Like that. Sometimes you need those. Not everything can be dude wipe twin brothers fighting each other.
Right.
And
Brought to you
it
by
just needs
Wingstop.
to be simple.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I enjoyed it. It's solid.
Yeah, same. And she looked fantastic. I mean, she doesn't look like a human. She looks like an actual cartoon character. Like it's astounding. Talk about like a presence. I mean, I'm still worried about her, like, being the total package. It's one of those things where I think like if we were doing our Bret Hart rating for her, I would be like, I mean, like the look is she's at a 10, and then like the other two are still low that I'm worried about them not rising enough to match.
Well, but that's all coming in time.
Sure,
I mean, you could say the same thing about Johnny Gargano. It's like, oh, he's twos across the board. What's going to happen? Is he ever going to get better?
Right.
Next up, we had a match before a match. Sami Zayn got the shit kicked out of him by all people that love him. And then he also damn near broke his hand on the way out in his match against Gunther.
This is one of my favorite entrances of Mania. I consider this a Wrestlemania entrance. I know that like generally the music hits and there's a crazy thing that happens, but for him, this is where his entrance began, and I fucking loved. I loved every little moment of this. I thought this was another one of those things where it was exactly as I anticipated to be. It was one of the most memorable matches of the weekend. It was one of the matches of the weekend, definitely match of the night for night one, in my opinion. I loved every second of it. But I was worried that was it KO popped him in the ear, maybe?
He chopped him. He did all kinds of shit to him.
I was like, watch his eardrums.
So, did you find it odd? Try to remove your bias from your love of Sami Zayn. That this match and only one other match that also involved Sami and Kevin Owens were the only matches that had anything around it. We had no interviews from any superstar on any night. We never heard from The Rock on night one, like leading into his match. There was no checking in with anybody. Right. There was no post-match anything. There was no a champion celebrated. We never caught up with anyone in any way. We never had any other pre-moments of anyone coming out. We had just Sami Zayn. Can he do it? Here are the people encouraging him. And then Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn going like, well, I fucking did it. Don't be a bitch. You go do it too. This was it.
Yeah.
Did that strike you as odd in any way? Did you want more?
No.
Or
I think that if anything, that less is more in these instances. I like, if we're gonna do so much goddamn wrestling, then pick and choose what the angle or the trope that you're gonna use for any specific story. And I think this was, if this is the only one, then maybe that's what made it so special to me, because it felt special. It felt like, oh, we didn't see this 3 other times, either after or before or wrapped around it. And so maybe that's why it made it unique to me. I loved it. Dude, I've absolutely
to me, it was terrifying that no one was running the show. I know WrestleMania Night 2, no one's running the show because Cody called them out. Yeah. But we walk through Gorilla with Sami Zayn and no one is there.
In fairness, the main little desk area that's tucked away in that corner, we didn't really see that. So he might have been, Triple H and others might have been tucked away in that corner without us really seeing it. Didn't catch that.
I'd fucking love to see a cell phone camera of all of them like huddled up, like, no, stay out of the frame.
No, I mean, I don't know. I could picture the way the camera was on that specific focal length. I could see that you just didn't see it, that they were just standing there and it just passed them.
Dude, show Billy Kidman sitting there. Like, who gives a shit? Like, doesn't matter. It was weird. Show Joseph Park.
I fucking loved it. And then I loved the El Generico. I loved that, like, of all of the shit that he has to overcome and summon, that once he starts flapping around, he starts doing the El Generico squirms. I'm like, it was already in. The match was great. The Brainbuster was fantastic. It's a move that I have a love-hate relationship with, because I've seen people do it and it seems so dangerous that I go, okay, never mind. But then the way that he did it here, it felt so well done and protected. He completely protected Gunther by keeping his arm wrapped around him the entire time, literally all the way until he comes past the turnbuckle. I fucking loved it. I know that you're maybe wasn't as into him beating Gunther here as I was. I don't know.
The man who couldn't beat Johnny Knoxville, who dethroned Gunther.
Yeah, I loved this so much. This was great to me. I absolutely loved it.
I did have a harder time buying that Sammy got it done. I couldn't get into him getting the shit kicked out of him, and then he had an epileptic fit to then.
I mean, how is it different from Hogan hulking up?
Because or Sting, because there's an absorption and then something happens. I don't like it. I couldn't buy the process of it, of Gunther just mercilessly beating him and then Sammy just rising up. And I think the other issue I had was it only took one move to beat Gunther when Sammy kicks out of everything. This was a reoccurring thing that happened a few times, like Drew McIntyre and others, where the good guy takes a shit ton of finishers.
Yeah.
And they kick out, and the bad guy, they take one.
Yeah, I mean,
that was difficult.
Yeah, that doesn't bother me because I think that's the story. That's the Mania. That's the big ending story where it's like it's about your best shot, and the good guy who has to be the underdog has to be the one who gets the shit beat out of him more. And it's God, this guy just won't quit. There's no quit at him. That's what makes him the good guy. That's what gives him that champion spirit. And it didn't bother me at all, especially because the move is that fucking brainbuster, which he has tried to do in WWE before and has failed. Like there's been times where he's like set it up and then hasn't been able to do it because somebody squirmed out of the way. And I'm like, I don't know. To me, it felt like a really good, I don't know. It felt like a full circle story that I was just completely in on. And the fact that it was that specific move that did it, Blue Thunder bombs, that, like none of that shit mattered. It was like he had to pull out this thing that he's never done in the company before, that he's had in his back pocket, that he's tried and never succeeded. It was like he was finally confident enough or whatever, or finally like he was in the stride enough. I think my biggest gripe with the whole thing was that he didn't fucking cut his hair or shave his face. I was really hoping for a new Sammy look at Mania because he's looking a little haggard. And I didn't get that, but it's okay. I love this. I love him getting that title. Yeah, this was fucking great. And I think Gunther, I don't think it does anything negative to Gunther. Like Gunther can move on to the main event, and I always do that thing where it's like, oh, this guy just lost the mid-card title. Why does he get a main title shot? But it's one of those instances where you go, he's still a monster and he's still fucking outstanding, and I get it. Yeah,
and that's my hope, is that it's all right. We put in the time. We did this for Sammy. I didn't think Sammy was the guy.
Yeah,
I like Sammy, and I'm thrilled that everybody else does.
Right.
But it just didn't register for me in that way. But I was excited for the potential of, all right, now Gunther gets to go do big shit.
Right. Yeah.
And then to close out night one, we had the Bloodline with Paul Heyman in their corner versus Cody Rhodes and Seth freaking Rollins.
What do you want to start with? The good or the bad?
Let's start with the bad.
All right. So, all in all, I want to say I enjoyed all of the Cody, Seth, Roman, Rock, all the Bloodline versus Cody and company stuff on Mania. In retrospect, in hindsight, whatever, as a whole, I loved it all. That does not mean that there are a little bit of those annoying logic wrestling things that bothered the shit out of me. And the second Rock starts throwing around his weight with the referee, completely and totally undermines the point of the whole fucking match. What does it matter if the following night is Bloodline banned from ringside, if The Rock could just come out to the ring and tell the ref, it doesn't matter that we're banned from Bloodside, I'll fire you. From Bloodside, I said? It doesn't matter if we're banned from ringside, I'll just fire you, don't disqualify Roman. Like, if he has the power to just threaten to fire referees to get them to do what he wants, there's no point in having a match for a stipulation, because stipulations don't matter when Rock is involved.
But that was about a count out.
That was the entire night. What do you mean about a count out? The rest of the night, the rest of this night one match, Rock was like staring at the ref. Don't you fucking do it. When he hit him with illegal objects, he pretty much told the ref, we can interfere. We can do shit. You're going to call this match how I want you to call it. So what would have prevented Rock from just doing that for Roman on night 2?
I took it as he said that you will call a decisive winner, that you will not count anybody out. It's not ending that way. It's a pinfall or submission. Don't do any of this other shit. And then when shit goes wrong at the end, he pulls the ref out and it's like, you can't get mad at me. I was through the Attitude Era. That's all we did was pull your fucking legs. Deal with it.
Yeah. I don't know.
But,
I don't know that I don't, maybe they're right. I missed that angle. To me, the angle was, I'm going to fucking fire you. I'm in charge. You do what I say. And I didn't get that.
Yeah, he threatened him.
Yeah.
But it was about, to me, it was about that there was going to be a decisive winner, and obviously he wants it to be him. But initially it started with he's doing a count when they're on the outside, and he's like, none of that.
Right.
We're not doing any of that.
Yeah.
So that to me registered as fine.
Yeah.
If there are other times where it's, we will fire you, but he's being a bully and he's threatening the ref. I was okay with that because there's something bigger to it. He is being a bully. He is doing these things. He's threatening Mama Rhodes. Like he's just being evil and awful.
Yeah.
And it culminates in what we see later.
Right.
But he got his way. Like he still bullied his way.
Sure.
And they made it happen where it's all skewed. So the crowd can be pissed. It's like, well, the ref couldn't do anything. He did what The Rock said. This is bullshit.
Right.
So that worked for me.
Okay. All right. That's good. Because that was my only real gripe with it. Other than that, I mean.
What about Seth Rollins' outfit?
That was I fucking loved it. God damn, it was fantastic. I fucking love every one of his ridiculous giant trains with these like Met Gala fucking accent pieces that are all like like gender neutral, like a challenging fucking gender norms. Like I fucking love it. I love like this brand of masculinity that he's putting out there. I think it's fucking fantastic. I think this is like the modern equivalent of the classic Flair robes. Do you know what I mean? Like this, I fucking love this. I absolutely loved it.
I'm annoyed by a guy who brings more luggage to WrestleMania than Princess Vespa does in Spaceballs.
I mean, he
like
doesn't.
He had 3 fucking wrestling outfits.
They bring that for him.
That's insane.
Yeah, they brought it for him. He didn't have to check that.
He ended up cosplaying it in his own shit at the end of night 2. It was nice to see Seth only be eccentric, but not be the character that he can't stand.
Yeah, I think it ended.
So I did appreciate that.
It ended at the entrance, which I think is what it should do. Like I felt like once the bell rang, it was my favorite version of Seth. I really like Seth Rollins when it's just like intent, when there's a ton of intent.
Once Drew McIntyre coined it in his his fucking funeral speech that he's doing about Punk, and it calls him Seth Cringe Lord Rollins.
Cringe Lord.
I was like, there we go.
Cringe Lord.
There we go. He fucking nailed it. Like I can't get past that. Like it's there. I thought the overall the match, yes, long. It clocked in. Looked like according to Wikipedia, the bell to bell is 44 minutes, 35 seconds.
Right.
I think the second act of it went a little long and wasn't as tight. And that's the tricky part too of they've got to fucking choreograph all this in a hotel room.
Right.
And try and make the timing work and everything.
Yeah.
I think otherwise the beginning, the end were both very strong.
Right.
I think one other nitpick criticism that I would have done for the masses of it all, because we had Rock and Roman on Jimmy Fallon. The Rock has been advertising everywhere, and you can tell everybody that doesn't watch wrestling or that maybe only watches wrestling a little bit casually for WrestleMania. They did a great job. Seth Rollins came out real fast for his intro. He's in the ring.
Yep.
Cody Rhodes came out real fast for his intro. He's in the ring. Rock, sure. Extravagant entrance.
Right.
Big, huge. He's got the fucking cool Ali title.
Yeah.
All that. Fine.
Yeah.
Roman, hurry the fuck up and get out there.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Get out there and get started.
I agree.
Because we're going to have to sit through Roman on night 2.
Yep.
Have that be the longer Roman entrance. And maybe you can hook people that they'll watch night one and go like, that was cool. There's more tomorrow. Rock's going to show up again. I'll watch again. I think people potentially checked out once they saw Rock and they're like, oh my God, this fucking taking forever. I don't know who this other guy is. I guess he's family, but I don't want to watch anymore. And they're just done.
Yeah, I don't know. I get that point. I think that you and I and other, I dare I call us week-to-week wrestling watchers because we are not anymore. But for the most part, lifelongers, like, I think we might exaggerate and have a shorter attention span for the long entrance that doesn't have anything exciting in it than a casual viewer might, because it might sell that anticipation and that, like, oh shit, like why is this like, why is this such a big deal? I don't know. I'm trying to play
know
those
who it
advocates.
is.
Yeah, I don't know.
When you know who the one guy is, when you know who the gatekeeper is, when you know it's like, that's Rock, and then everything was impressive. You go, Rock, and you go, here's the other guy, and you go, I don't know who this is.
I had more of a
Why is it
problem
taking so
with
long?
that fucking Ali title, to be honest with you. That was the other thing. Let me nitpick about. Because for the casual viewer, oh, Rock is the champion? Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, sweet. Rock. I didn't realize Rock is the champion here. Wait, why is the other guy got a belt? Did they?
They said.
Oh, yeah, I don't know that.
Yeah, they explained that.
It also bothered me that title looks nicer than the actual WWE Universal Championship does. But yeah, I mean, this went as expected. Did not expect anywhere world where Cody and Seth were going to win this. I think
they did a good job of teasing the potential breakup between Rock and Roman with the spear,
the miscalculation
that Rock gets, and you're going, oh wait, maybe they do win, and now they're at odds,
right?
And Roman's got his back in the corner. I think they played that out well during the match.
I agree.
To amp up the disbelief of, well, obviously the Bloodline's gonna win. Oh shit, maybe not.
Right. Yeah, no, I can get behind that.
And there's some great side by sides of the Nia Jax, my whole
and
ouch
Rock.
face, and Rock's like hurting ribs that it looks surprisingly similar.
Yeah, fantastic.
But that he was great. He at one point missed a step. You see the older people stumble from time to time. There's a thing like he did a low blow, I think, to Cody, and he lost his footing real fast, but then popped right back up. And it was nice to see that. Just played it off.
Right.
There was no.
There was.
He didn't keep losing it. You didn't have any other doubt. Maybe it was just a slip, but he was great. He's been phenomenal as a heel. He's doing all the stuff and whooping Cody and whooping Seth. That was just brutal.
It was
bad,
brutal.
and you felt bad for both guys.
Yeah. And there was something to me about the fact that when Cody came back and he faced Rollins in the cell with the peck, compared to now, and this might just be, my mind doing this, and it's not this case. Cody seemed to have gotten smaller. He doesn't seem to be as beefy as he was whenever that was, a year and a half, 2 years ago. And Rock seems to be bigger than ever somehow. And I really think that when the two of them were in the ring together, it truly felt like, oh, Cody's gonna die. Like, this poor little man will be murdered by this monster that The Rock is.
I assume Cody's training regimen leading up to this, knowing what was like the minimum of wrestling both nights,
right?
That you're looking at over a half an hour for both. All the media you're going to have to do, all the sleep you're not going to get.
He went cardio.
That he just became more of a cardio machine.
Right. That probably makes sense. Yeah.
And just had to be able to endure.
It's about stamina over show muscles.
Yeah. I mean, I go both ways. You know what I mean?
I've always thought that about you. Welcome to the club. So night two, not Naito. He had a match of his own somewhere else, but
yeah, with his eye doctor.
Yeah. Night two opens.
So wait. What would you give night one overall? Scale of 1 to 10.
Honestly, like, I think everybody was really hard on it in the Discord. I'm gonna go maybe 6.5 or 7 because it did feel like a night one. It felt like the first part of the weekend story. I do think that, I think that in my opinion, if it wasn't for that Uso match being such a letdown and sucking so much air out of the event for me, then I probably would be like, oh, firm 7.5. Because overall, even the bad, quote, bad matches that I didn't care about were good. They were good matches, and it felt like WrestleMania to me.
To me, didn't feel like WrestleMania.
Gotcha.
It felt like a bunch of kickoff matches for what was Mania.
Understood.
I give it a 5.
Yeah, that's what you said.
I'm really done with night 1 and night 2. Like,
Yeah.
I don't need it. If we weren't doing this is yet another time where I'm like, I would just watch the main event of night 1, knowing that it was good.
Right.
Last year with night 1, hearing about Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus the Usos, and kind of hearing what I heard from other people, I've been like, oh, okay, got it. I'll just take it in. I don't need to watch that.
I love that match. But
And
yeah,
I'll just watch night 2.
Sure. Yeah.
I'll do the hangout. I'll do night 2 and do that. But it's overinflated and it's longer. I was glad that night 2 was shorter.
Yeah. I thought actually, even the first night, like, even though it was long, like, I think the thing is it's still 2 nights, so it's still way too much fucking wrestling. But like done before fucking midnight, which is, considering it just feels so late because now I'm on the East Coast, I don't get that benefit of it starting at 4 p.m., you know?
Yeah.
That I expected it to be even later when it was all said and done. So I felt like, oh, those were both okay lengths, but yeah.
Andrew Bealey in the Discord says, thank God for the Discord.
Yeah.
I agree, because that's what made night 1
Yeah, it was fun.
more connective and fun, and hanging out with the community and cracking jokes and hearing other people's reactions. She says 5.5 out of 10 for her. Did not feel like Mania was not surprising and fun. I think that was the other part. For a large part of it, it lacked fun. And I think that's just part of a whole show that we'll get into night 2 here in just a second, but night 2 had some fun moments.
We should get into it quicker than a second because there's gonna be a long. We're gonna run an entire length of Mania just doing the Mania recap today.
Nice. All right, so night 2, we open things up. We've got CM Punk at the commentary table.
Oh, it's so good.
And we also get a return of a McMahon.
Oh yeah.
And no, everybody, it's not Linda. It's the boring one. It's Stephanie.
Oh,
and
not
does she tear her quad? No, she doesn't.
We don't
She
know that.
keeps it together.
Yeah, she comes out and welcomes everybody to WrestleMania again. Still welcome.
And via the press conference later, we found out that really excited Triple H. And he seemed bothered that he had to do the press conference and not plow his wife.
Gotta do what you gotta do. Gotta do what you gotta do, Triple H. By the way, this was apparently booked internally as Triple H welcomes people to night 2. And apparently, like, people didn't know backstage that she was going to go out and have a little moment. I don't know why that was kept, or if it was changed last minute of Triple H being like, you go do it.
I don't want
My heart, it's so, do you know how far away that ring is? God damn, that ramp is so long. Just you do it.
It's like Jiggly Bacon with stairs. I just can't handle it.
Can't handle the stairs.
So a very shocking moment, to be sure. I haven't read any news today. Haven't checked any of that stuff.
She's back.
Speculation.
She's back with the company.
Is she now?
Says she
To what
is.
capacity?
I don't know. Board of directors. I don't know. I did see that she's officially back as an employee of WWE again. I don't know what the position is. Well, maybe next week when we do news, we'll figure that out and talk about that.
So we had CM Punk on commentary. I didn't get to hear all of it because now this night I was with people.
Yep,
so
same.
Quickly here, I was hanging out with a gentleman who looks very similar to Marky Extreme, Shane Harline, friend of the show. I was hanging out with some AfterBuzz crew people, Tom Connolly and Christian Rosenberg. Just getting my Rosenbergs all mixed up in the head there. And it was fun. Snacks and hanging out and more jokes and silliness abound with people. So I didn't participate in the Discord that night.
Same.
And just had a good time hanging out with some peeps that I hadn't seen in a long time, catching up.
Hard Same was at Cousin Paul's. He was rocking his fantastic Bret Hitman Hart shorts. Shout out.
Shorts?
Yeah, he's got like these really lovely, like they look like his tights, but they're like basketball shorts. They're very silky, very smooth, very lovely.
Oh.
Had lots of tasty snacks and really fun, good company. But I also did not get to hear a ton of the Punk commentary, I was that guy where just for that specific match, because I was like, this is the only one I really want to hear. Like, I don't care as much about hearing the other ones, but I was like real close to the TV. And at one point, my cousin goes, "You can turn it up if you want." And I was like, "Oh, I did already. Like, I know."
I want everyone to shut the fuck up.
Just for this match.
So what have you been up to? What's going on?
And it sucked that it was the first one.
Fucking
because
3 hours.
The first one is when you do all of that, and we got there right at 7. So the first match is when what's going on? How's this? How's that? And I'm like, oh fuck, Punk's out right now. Punk has a microphone. He's got a live microphone. But from what I heard, he was fantastic, and this match was great. Seth looked great. Drew looked fucking great, and the ending was out fucking standing.
Quick side note. So Tom Connolly was saying my uncle is one of the bagpipe players.
Holy shit, really?
Drew's entrance.
That's
and
awesome.
He pointed him out. Like, he was the third guy in, older looking guy, white hair, like a little white beard, and pointed him out. And he's like, he's there. He's performing. He's in Philly. Like, he performs in bagpipe bands. And he was saying that that's what's going to happen for his entrance. And that to me was one of the best WrestleMania entrances where
I think it might have been best of the weekend, in my opinion.
Yeah, like sometimes the entrances get so absurd or ridiculous, like what Seth's was, where you're going, I'm sorry, is this a production of Once on This Island? Like, what the fuck am I looking at here?
Yeah.
I don't know what this means. It's elaborate, yes, but what is going on? Drew's was fitting.
Yep.
There's swords, there's a fight feel, and it's tradition, and that was just cool. And
I agree.
This was one of those matches where I'm like, why does Seth take so many finishes? And Drew does it. Okay. But I was so happy with the outcome. Yeah. And then the aftermath was so intriguing.
And I love all of this. This is, I mean, really good storytelling here, where the entire build up to Mania has been Drew telling Seth, you're not fucking concentrating. This whole shit with the bloodline, you're being stupid. This is annoying. But the footage of him from night one watching it, going like, yep, all right, I'll show you tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll take your title from you, dummy. Like, fantastic. All great build up. But the entire time, him just being an absolute hypocrite because he's so concentrated on Punk and nobody calling him out for
moment,
that.
like, and Punk saying, I can't hear a word you're saying because I got cans on my ears.
It's so, and it was the entire time. By the way, him tweeting, I was like, what is he doing? That looks like a terrible photo he's taking. And then the fact that we realized that Drew tweeted bored at work, lol.
Was that a draft, you think? And he just sent it and did like some of this?
I hope so. Because
otherwise, you don't want to fuck that up.
Well, also, I'm upset at how funny and good that is for a pro wrestler. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's almost like not fair that you could, if you came up with that and just did that on the spot. Oh, it'd be funny if I sent a text and you just thought about it there. Fuck you. You don't deserve to be that funny and talented, and that handsome. Like, that's
Drew's on
really
fire.
He's on fire. Him
Drew's
getting
so
in
good.
Punk's face.
All the stuff with Punk.
Oh God.
And then the timing of it was so well done because you're going, it's over.
Right.
Drew won. You're in his face, but why is it still happening? Like, what is to happen next? And you're going, Punk's not going to do anything. He's been showing up everywhere. The Ari Helwani interview with this fucking bionic cool brace on his elbow, and on Raws, he's been sporting that thing. So in the old school way, he has sold this arm is incapacitated.
Right.
It is not moving. He's not doing anything. It's not going to happen. No part of my brain, or seemingly everyone in the room, thought Punk is going to get physical.
Right. Same.
Punk got physical.
100%. But in my opinion, though, he got physical in a way that didn't unsell his injury. In my opinion, because he used his other arm and his other hand. Like, to me, it was like, I'm taking the brace off.
Yeah, it wasn't, I'm okay now. Yes, I showed you.
It wasn't him going, I'm so smart. Look, I'm fine. It was him being like,
it wasn't every AEW wrestler. I'm not blind after all.
I've got a weapon is what it was. And it was him using that weapon.
Yeah.
And then, by the way, this wasn't even planned. It wasn't even planned, but this is one of those happy accidents. He hits him, kisses to Drew's wife, and it looked just like him blowing a kiss to
Vince,
who shall not be named. Yeah, which was when
Mr. Dude Wipe.
I'm pretty sure that was at wasn't that a Money in the Bank? I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And then what happens immediately after Money in the Bank comes out? I fucking loved it.
With a well-informed referee.
Yeah, who knew what was happening. And Priest, he's really grown on me a lot. I'm really looking forward to what he gets to. He's still not quite there yet for me, but I'm not mad at this. I think this is good for everybody involved. It didn't hurt Seth. It didn't hurt Drew. It didn't hurt Punk.
It added to Drew.
It added to everybody.
I was initially bummed that this was going to happen, but with Punk there for this moment, causing it, his surprise, all of his reactions to it.
His Punk's face.
And then the devastation that was Drew. Like I still am bummed because I love Drew so much and I want to see Drew as champion and being a total shithead, but it's like, oh, this does add to him being more bitter and more enraged.
Yeah.
And Punk sitting on the desk clapping after Priest cashes in and wins the title from him.
Good job, pal.
I was like, this does elevate everyone involved in this. This moves everyone forward. This does, like what we're saying about the tag match with the ladders, like this, that didn't do that for everybody. This did it for everybody in huge ways. So yes, it was great. I cannot wait to see what Drew does now.
Yeah. So, honestly,
so excited.
Just kind of broad strokes really quickly for the entire weekend. I can't wait to see what everybody does now. This is one of those manias that feels like a really good season finale where I'm excited for almost everybody. I'm fascinated to see what happens with the bloodline.
There it is.
What? There's what?
Almost everybody. Not everybody.
Well, I mean, there were some people I didn't care about what they were doing.
Do you really give a shit what Naomi's going to do?
100%. 100%. Will the glow ever go away? Who knows?
What will New Catch Republic do?
But what else? Well, yeah, let's start working our way. We're going XL here.
We had the Philadelphia Street Fight with a surprise Bubba Ray Dudley as special guest referee.
What we said,
and tables. Do we know how to set them up? Do we not know how to set them up?
Bobby, the second they were doing that,
is this guy too heavy? Is he not?
Bobby, it's not set up. Look, the leg's not done. Fuck, God damn it, Bobby. But you know what? It was fun.
Can we obliterate them?
They handled it well. I think, again, if we're nitpicking, having this match on the same night as the Bloodline Rules match did seem to me like, oh, don't do the tables this night. Because the second Cody brought the tables out later in the evening, I was like, yeah, we saw this already. And even though it didn't really come to fruition, it still felt like, but
so they did garbage matches for both the second match of the night.
Yep.
Which I thought was an interesting layout of how they're going to do it.
Sure.
And this was, hey, you get a bunch of crazy shit. You're Philly, so here you go. And I felt really bad for Lashley, Dawkins, and Ford, who just were hit over and over and over again. And when it was Karrion Kross at the forefront hitting them, I was like, show AOP a little bit because I feel really uncomfortable right now. This is not good.
Listen, it's still just a fight at the end of the day. Okay. It's
just
a fight.
The ladies did a crazy Russian leg sweep through a table. Yeah. So it's again, kind of like served its purpose. I'm not going to rewatch this one. It wasn't.
Yeah. I had no emotional investment going into it, but it was fine. It was not unentertaining. Yeah. And like we said at the top, I love that they just added a random special guest referee. That's so fun. That's exciting. Do that. But neither one of us are big.
Yeah. And it wasn't Snoop.
Let me say though,
Snoop was doing everything tonight too again.
I'm not a fan of Bubba Ray Dudley. Like, I don't dislike the character of Bubba Ray Dudley, but the man has bothered me so much. The real guy that it's affected my.
Yeah, he's an awful person.
Yeah.
Devon's great.
Yeah.
Call Devon.
Devon to do it.
Devon do it. Then we get into LA Knight, the man who's got a Slim Jim car.
That was awesome. I loved it.
Yeah, that was advertising done right, where it's like, oh, that's fucking cool. Got a Slim Jim car. Versus AJ Styles. This did not disappoint for me at all. I was way into it. I thought it was a great showing. Again, kind of one of those matches again where it just It served its purpose, but it felt like an intense feud.
Yep.
And it was one on the card, but damn it, was it good and helped both guys.
Yeah, this is one of those, like, I know that LA Knight's, his career's not new by any means, but this feels like one of those, like, first big moments in a career for a very huge trajectory where it's like,
beyond the Saudi title match that he had with Roman,
of course, and
for fans that are newer to LA Knight, that's pretty big, pretty quick. But like this is the stories that he needs.
Yeah, and AJ is just so fucking good at what he does. Everything looks so good in this match.
He looks like a fucking Carrot Top now, but he's not slowing down. He's so huge.
He's yoked. He is really yoked.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
He looks like San Quentin prison AJ Styles now. I don't get it.
The Metallica Saint Anger era.
Yeah, no shit. But these guys can go. I hope this feud doesn't end. If it does, like, you can put a pause button, but I'd love to see them keep going at it.
Yeah.
The intensity, it was just one where it felt like, hey, we're going to make LA Knight and AJ Styles isn't going to lose anything out of this. And it was solid. Like, I like seeing matches like this under this regime. If only they named this era of what it would be.
I don't know. Who knows? Throne era, the Iron Cross era.
Logan Paul versus Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton for the WWE United States Championship. Man,
God, I
here's
love
where
this match.
In a match we had fun early on with Punk and some Drew moments.
Right.
But God damn it, did this feel fun and right from the get-go set the pacing off.
Yep.
And expectations. So it felt like I've seen so much scripted wrestling forever, and I felt like that's what the last few Manias have been. And it's so regimented, and it's like, stand for your entrance, stand here, do this. Logan comes out, does his thing with a fucking big old prime truck and Rusev tank. Damn you.
Yeah.
You'd never shot things.
No.
And then Kevin Owens comes out and goes like, fuck that. I'm going to go get a cart.
And he gives the truck the DX chops, like, suck it, truck. I've got my own truck, and it's a golf cart with KO taped on the hood. Fucking great.
So that started to feel a little different.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. And then this is what I think is key to this match and a large part to this night is this felt crazy and weird. And I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going to happen.
100%. Any one of these
backs
dudes
up during Orton's entrance and offers him a ride.
Yeah.
And Orton's kind of going like, I don't know, maybe. It's, hey man, I got long entrances. It's like, get on the fucking back of the thing. Gets on the back of the thing, starts tearing ass down the ramp, and Orton's go, whoa, slow down, but having a good time.
100%.
He's having fun. The crowd's having fun. Like, that was just pure fun that everybody got sucked into.
And the interactions, talk about playing to the back of the room and the furthest seat. The interactions between Kevin and KO were old silent comedy. Like, you didn't need to hear anything when they were doing when KO did the classic Randy Orton like side release slam through the tables that he always does, and he didn't do it good enough, and Orton goes by and goes like, you got to get height. Like, you didn't need to hear it. You could tell, oh yeah, that wasn't good. That didn't look like Orton's. Why didn't that look like Orton's? Oh, you got height. And then he goes and shows them how. That was so goddamn funny to me. And it was like fucking vaudeville, because you didn't need to hear, we didn't need to get super close and by the way, I love hearing Kevin Owens talk. So this isn't me slamming hearing them, because I like to hear them. I think a little bit more than you do sometimes. But you didn't need him to go like, what did I do wrong? Why was that weird? He just goes like, gotta get up there. Yeah.
And Kevin Owens getting shoved into Randy, and Randy giving him a look like, hey, what's going on? He's like, come on, he clearly shoved me.
Right. Yes.
He did it. Okay. Then let's beat him up some more.
And then
like, we're good.
The turn when Orton tries to get the RKO, doesn't get it, and then he's like a little kid, goes like, ew, puts his shoulders up. Sorry. And then the audience, such a huge part of this match, chanting, you fucked up, I think, or something like
yeah.
Fucking, God damn it.
A quick side note that relates to all this, and watching all the fucking Raws and SmackDowns back to back to back.
God.
Seeing Orton in this era that, gotta get a name for it, that they're allowed to interact with the crowds again.
Yeah.
That during their entrances and interact with people and take photos and sign shit and do whatever.
Yeah.
Orton is amazingly good at this now that he's a dad and
Right.
just likes life and likes people.
Doesn't have a chip on his
in
shoulder.
whatever quantities it is. His fun and interactivity that he has with these people that reestablishes the fun that he can have in ring that isn't as regimented as it was for so many years that he gets bored and checks out. And then he's doing it in WrestleMania on a bigger scale was what I miss in professional wrestling.
Yeah.
And this match had all of it. Logan being the fucking little shit that he is. Those two guys teasing, I was going to hit you with a fucking RKO and you figured it out. And I was going to hit you with the stunner and you fucking figured it out. All that shit was so good. And then it gets even fucking better when the man in the bottle, let's just call him Message. I don't know. I show speed, according to Wikipedia. I don't know if that's right or not. They could write anything. He's in the bottle. It's the reveal, whatever. And that dude shoved Orton.
Yeah.
Where Orton lost his footing.
Right. Almost fell.
And that registered to me as, oh, Orton's mad.
Oh.
That guy shoved too hard.
Now you
and
fucked up.
I didn't want to make you look that strong.
Nope.
So he fucking front boots him
That shit looks so brutal. I mean,
so hard.
I truly believe if he wasn't in that bottle, he would have died. Like his head
It could have been bad.
His head would have hit the ground. So I don't care if there's a mat there. So hard he would have had a concussion that they have never seen before in professional wrestling.
And then because that guy barked at him also, he did it. I guess he has a signature bark or whatever. But then again, the fucking organic everything that this was, that Orton takes him up on the table before he gives him RKO. There's a moment and he looks in his face and he does the bark to him back in a mocking way, and then RKOs him. Fuck, I could watch this match over and over again.
I probably will.
So fun.
I did rewatch 2 matches already from Mania, and will probably be the next one I rewatch. I rewatched Intercontinental and I rewatched the main event of night 2.
This was tremendous. Logan Paul ends up getting the win,
which he should, which I anticipated. I would have been fine.
Anybody could have won this one, and it'd be solid.
I probably didn't expect Orton to win like the most. I could have seen them giving KO the win because of what they set up with Sammy. And I was sort of writing it in my head ahead of time of what I wanted to see happen throughout the weekend. And Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn were very much a big part of the Bloodline story. And I did sort of anticipate the two of them, even though they didn't win them from Bloodline members, it still felt to me like the two of them having the mid-card titles at the end with the Bloodline fall and all the baby faces. I kind of, in my head, I was like, yeah, I could see them giving it to KO for that image. And because why not? But yeah, let Logan have it. I mean, the guy is just doing.
He's doing great. Everybody looked great.
Yeah.
It's fucking great. So also the escalation of this night is working really well.
Yep.
Like the opening match to we're building. Like the structure of it was just solid from putting on a show standpoint.
Yeah.
Then we get into Bayley versus Io Sky for the WWE Women's Championship. Bayley's Egyptian now, so good for her.
Yep.
So Stargate, everybody.
I mean,
and then
that's not as bad. I will say, when we didn't talk about it, but the night prior, when Damage Control came out, and it was all of like the Japanese kabuki stuff, and I was thinking like, yeah, this works. Except for Dakota Kai. That's cultural appropriation, Dakota Kai. That is not allowed.
We got another one.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Bayley's Egyptian. So I think this was a great snowball match. Tricky with the crowd's expectations. And they're going like, well, we got to hold on to some energy for the main event. And it's like, yeah, this is cool. We want Bayley to win.
Yeah.
And we're going to sing like assholes for a while.
The fans are totally into it too, which I kind of thought at this point that the fatigue would be really strong. And that we would lose, their interest would be lost. But fans were
I
firmly
think it
behind
is
Bayley.
for the first half.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of the crowd being reserved. And then it's like, all right, this is really amping up. This is really getting good. And there was a solid showcasing for both.
Bayley, I think Bayley is going to be, I'm trying to think of another former talent to equate her to from like a previous generation, a different era, if you will. but like she's gonna be one of those people who I think is almost indefinitely underappreciated, where like the B+ players, if you will, like where it's like, yeah, maybe world champions a few times, but I don't think gets the same credit as her peers do. But like, I know that you were a fan of a lot of the heel gimmicks, and I know that you don't necessarily love a lot of her talking. I think she's charming and fun, and I like it. I kind of like anything she does, even when it's hokey, because I think that's kind of the point. And I think she and I have a similar sense of humor, maybe. But like,
Don't put that on her.
She's been such a tentpole of this fucking division for so long. Whereas like, Charlotte's gone for giant chunks, and Sasha fucked off, and like Becky even took time off to not for
Charlotte's gone when she's injured.
Yeah, I know, but that's what I'm talking about. Like
she jumps from the top to the outside. Her knee's gonna explode every so often.
Yeah, but it was fucking. It was a great match, and I think Bayley deserved it, and I think it was nice. And there was some talk about in the Discord, like, well, if Bayley doesn't win, we're really diminishing the value of this Royal Rumble victory. And I thought to myself, like, no, you should still lose the occasional Mania, because otherwise you're really diminishing Royal Rumble victories, because then we know the outcome of Mania 2 months in ahead. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm okay with the Rumble victor losing. But this was an instance where I was like, yeah, that's fine. The story they told over the course of the last year with Damage Control made sense.
Yeah, I thought she was going to lose as well, and I thought that's fine. It's EO besting her group member. She just didn't have it on this night. But solid match.
Yeah.
We get into the main event, the story. Will it be finished? Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns in a Bloodline Rules match.
Man, this match is all over the place in ways that I love, in some ways that I was confused about, in some ways I think was unfortunate, but not, just not bad, just execution. Mm-hmm. All in all, though, like I fucking loved it. Like I loved the story they told. I loved the ending. I loved, we'll get into the nitpicks, I'm sure, here in a moment, but broad strokes, I mean, it's fucking beautiful. It was beautiful.
Broad strokes, I think it was great too. I was certainly thrown by they didn't go into hardcore things. I was certainly surprised that Cody didn't bleed. I thought that would be the final element of
some color,
sympathy.
Yep.
Of, oh my God, he's bleeding out of his head again. Like there's no way he's gonna win this. He's gotta fucking win.
I completely agree.
They did some whipping on him again, which was certainly interesting.
Right.
Throughout from the time that we recorded, and then chatting with friends, and we're gonna hang out and see these people and do this and that, and then talking to like, what do you want it to be? Because then I was unaware. The speculation got out of control, where I'm hearing this guy's gonna show up, that guy's gonna show up, this guy's gonna show up, and I'm going, what are you, fucking crazy?
I heard none of that, which I'm very thankful for.
I thought that was absurd, and it didn't make a lick of sense to me that you're going to have cameos galore from old school guys. And I was like, why? It should be, I was picturing going in this, and this is my nitpick of the whole thing. It certainly was all executed well and done very, very well. And many, many people were happy, but we'll get into more of that in a bit. I thought, why isn't it for the saves or standing up that LA Knight, Sami Zayn,
yep, 100%.
Kevin Owens,
100%.
the people that have been afflicted by the bloodline, and going like, enough's enough and we can't take any more. Stop fucking with Cody, and your night is over and we're standing up to you. So no more.
That's my
and
biggest
then
gripe.
It's the good guys raising Cody on the shoulders. And I thought, for the sake of the next year, you can have, hey, where were you on the night 2 of WrestleMania?
The bloodline destruction.
You didn't stand up against Bloodline. Where do you stand? And it can be political, but it's wrestling. And so it's, are you this side or that side? And Bloodline trying to rise up again. And these guys could help, or they weren't, or they're Drew, and Drew McIntyre's like, I stand by myself. Fuck both sides. I don't care.
Right. I completely agree. My biggest gripe with this match was that there was no Sami Zayn, who I think was such a huge part of the Bloodline story, even more so than KO. Yeah, KO versus Roman was such a huge part of the pandemic and the beginning of the Bloodline, so I would have liked him there as well. But Sammy, to me, was like, he was literally in the fucking Bloodline. So I think he was really, really missing from it. But, you know, it being kind of like the ghosts of, not all of them, but some of the ghosts of Roman's past, I thoroughly enjoyed this. I had no idea Cena was going to come out. That was going to be the first. Well, I guess the first one is the actual Bloodline is you have Solo, and then you've got Jay, and then
it was Jimmy and Jay.
Right. And by the way, like they that what they did on the fucking ramp was better than their entire night, their entire match the night prior.
Yeah, and at least their bodies fell on the concrete and seemingly not on the tables. Yikes.
So that stuff all made sense, but then I wasn't expecting Cena, right? But you know,
Solo was the guy to put Cena out in Saudi, so Cena showed up and said, "Saudi, no, Solo."
Yep, got his pound of flesh and all that.
You'll see.
Obviously, Rock.
I didn't like that Cena attacked Roman. That was another nitpick where it's like, no, don't touch Roman.
We talked
it's
about
all about
that.
Cody doing it, but Cena gave him an attitude adjustment. It's like, hey, whoa.
We talked about that last week where I was like, none of the good guys should touch Roman. They should all touch the other bad guys trying to interfere. You're right. I don't think I clocked that, but that's a really good point.
So then we get into Rock showing up and watching the Peacemaker and Black Adam going like, oh fuck, it's on. Rock just mouthing off, walking down was great.
I will say, I feel like the stare down went on a little bit too long. Your shirt right there, but with Cena instead of Hogan, I felt like that sucked a little bit of the momentum. And I get it. Like when you're in there and feeling the crowd, that's like the thing. You want to milk a little bit of it. But I do feel like there was a rapid pace to this person to this person to this person. And then it was just like a new match was starting. And I did feel like that slowed everything down quite a bit. But again, nitpicks at this point. But Rock bottoms the shit out of Cena, who throws the worst right hand you've ever seen in your entire life. And then the fucking Shield music starts playing. And this is where I think there's some unfortunate stuff.
I laughed.
Okay. I didn't. I
was laughing when that music hit because the room I'm in has people going crazy because they were dealing with the speculation and calling people that, oh, it's gonna be this guy, and they started going like, fucking Moxley.
Oh yeah,
Moxley.
Isn't he still under contract?
And I went, well, I mean, shit was getting crazy. There's no rational thinking at this point. It's all out the window. And they were also thinking MJF might show up because his contract status is questionable. And I said, hold on. It's not just potentially Moxley. It could be Kurt Angle. Because one night he did
honorary Shield member wear
the gear.
Could you imagine them knees trying to get down those stairs? So I didn't. I knew immediately. I was like, oh, they referenced this directly when they set this whole thing up. He said, I'm going to be your shield. Like, I'll be your shield. Like, this is, to me, was like, all right, this is going to be
America's home shield.
Apparently, because of the American Nightmare and the Shield coming together. It's right there.
And home. WWE.
You're right. Cody finally came home. And so did CM Punk and everybody else. Because, home is where the heart is. And the heart is WWE. But anyways,
and Olive Garden, when you're home, your family.
When I first saw the thing pop up, I went, all right, great. This is going to be, Seth coming out, doing the Shield thing, which they kind of did without the music a couple weeks ago, coming through the crowd, which to me is like, oh, this is fun. They're preying on the past. But then it just kind of went on and Rock looked lost and nobody was coming. And then I thought, wait, is this supposed to be like, oh, they're playing mind games? And I thought, well, that's lame. Mm-hmm. Don't play mind games in this moment. That's like a letdown. And then when Seth comes in and then Roman takes him out, my immediate thought is, oh, this was just miscommunication. There was a cue missed. It took way too long. I feel like maybe Roman wasn't ready. And so Seth couldn't come in because he wasn't supposed to make contact with The Rock, right? You got to wait to make sure you're going to get intercepted. Otherwise, you're going to hit The Rock, and then what the fuck are you going to do? So
I assume that timing-wise, to get through a stadium of people is massively difficult because he's trying to do it through the crowd.
But did he actually come through the crowd? I assume he was under
think
the
so
ring.
because he didn't come through the entranceway.
No, and he didn't come
would have
through,
shot him.
Yeah, and he also didn't come through across from hard camera.
I think he came from the hard camera side where they have more control, but it's still just, as we've seen long ago before we did crazy production stuff.
Right.
We saw the miscue timing of Papa Shango coming out to,
Right.
for the Hogan and Sid match, that they're just sometimes the cues or running, or if somebody gets in the way, there could be one security guard a la, was it Mojo and all that shit, where it's like, hey, you back up. He's like, I'm in the fucking finish of this battle royal. Fuck off.
Yeah, right.
There's so many variables.
Sure, 100%.
Something like this. So it felt like whatever was going on, he gets hit, but they didn't shoot it because he was supposed to be in ring, in camera.
Right.
So
yeah, I get that. I totally get all that. But whatever reason, that was my only other little it felt to me.
We'll fix it in post.
We didn't get to really even see Rollins before Roman took him out.
Did he change his hair also? Did he put?
No, I've heard that.
Make it blonde?
I don't think, but it was already blonde. He already had half blonde grown out hair. People were like, I think what it is that
I don't pay attention to him, so I don't know.
His hair, when he puts the oil and shit, I think his hair, when it dries. Do you remember when Dolph Ziggler started getting like the really big frizzy hair towards the end of his matches because it would get dry and it would get, I think it just got
Bobby
drier.
Roode.
Yeah,
okay.
That's my theory, but maybe, I don't know. So
but
in any
he's
case,
he's wearing the Shield gear.
Comes out and he's in the Shield gear. And Roman takes him out. And then
with the chair shot to the back, a la you did this
long ago. That doesn't happen yet. First, Roman just takes him out by hitting him in the front, or Superman punching him rather, while Seth is holding the chair.
Okay.
And that is where the dong, the dong.
Yeah, the Undertaker dong.
Yeah, Undertaker's dong.
Throws down.
Hashtag dude wipes.
The lights go out, and then, oh, God damn it. In the ring.
Yeah.
And the camera's on Rock, and then a very warm Undertaker who's been in the ring for who knows how long, with that cooler of beers that many speculated were for somebody else that are keeping him nice and toasty.
Mm-hmm.
He's there and does exactly what he said over and over again that he doesn't want to do at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
He did it.
Yep.
And I'm picturing when he's face to face with Rock, when Rock turns around, that it's all I can rationalize in my head is like, I want to be on the board of directors. And then sideways kind of choke slam.
This is one of those instances where, oh, God, sorry.
Oh, and then lights go out, and then he's got to scurry back into the ring and not celebrate with Cody.
Sure. It did seem like, at first, because when the lights came back on and Rock was there, I was like, he abducted Rock's soul. He's gone. He vanished. But this is an instance, though, where my brain, I put the pieces together myself, whether it was intentional. Sometimes you're talking about a movie with a friend of yours and they make a connection that they think the director intended, and they didn't mean it. It was just a happy accident. Like, they didn't think about that. You're doing that yourself. I immediately thought, Roman beat him at Mania. He's one of the two people that beat him at Mania. It's a shame that he's not the only one that beat him at Mania, but he's one of the two people that beat him at Mania. Taker still has it out for Roman. Roman
Bitter,
is
6 years later.
Roman is the one who that's when he left his shit in the ring and then still fought 6 more matches. But you know what I mean?
I thought my shit was in here.
Again,
I don't look as cool in a hoodie.
Would it have been better, in my opinion, if this was, like you said, a new person, or if instead of Taker, it was literally like, okay, everybody's come out. Now it's The Rock by himself.
Was LA Knight?
Again, LA Knight, even if it's like all 3 of them, even if it's like Knight, fucking KO and Sammy, or Knight, Orton and Sammy, because Orton also had his
anybody.
Yeah.
Fucking Owens, fucking anybody that you look at it and you go, there might be a match here. Oh, what
Right.
if those two fight? Because we could potentially have it. Taker and Rock aren't going to have a match.
Right. Well,
It's not going to happen.
here's the other twist that my brain did. Here's the other shit that I'm putting in of my own decision, whether or not it was the intent. What's our one complaint from the weekend that they really drilled home 25 times? It's a new era.
The Slammies in
Oh.
the morning. Oh,
Yeah. To me, this also did sort of seem like, hey, all these people, this is them all simultaneously passing the collective torch to the new guy, the new era. It's hey, it was almost like one could argue that it's like, hey, do you know how in WrestleMania we always drag out one of these 6 people? You know, the Goldbergs, the whatever. Like, this is us doing that for the last time and being like, this is all of those people saying, now it's yours. Now you go and you take it and you do something with it. But again, I'm putting that on myself.
And I disagree with that philosophy because my whole point of it being all the current people that could have the matches with all the people that are involved or that we've seen in the universe, and it's trying to elevate them. None of them are going to overshadow Cody.
Right.
And all this happens, all the melee happens. Cody gets the fucking crossroads.
I was gonna say that's where then the chair shot to Seth happens in between those two, right? Post Taker. And that is another great moment. We talked earlier about Drew, right? Telling that great story where he was truly focused on Punk. Here you now have, however many years later, decade later, Roman still having that bitter disdain for what happened in the Shield and not being able to just be like, if he would have hit Cody, he would have won. But instead, he hit Seth, who's there in the embodiment of where he came from, dressed in the Shield gear. It's like PTSD. It's like he saw him in that gear and went, fuck, that's right. I forgot how much I was angry about that. And that is such beautiful storytelling. That's so good. I loved that moment. And that's ultimately what allows what allows Cody to capitalize. And then, yes, finally hits him with his 76th crossroad of the evening.
Gets the win.
Yeah.
Cody wins. Jubilation. Now, a quick side note from the room I was in, what is immediately said after 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's no Stone Cold?
See, I wasn't.
That is said in the room.
Yeah.
And that has to be said many a place, or the expectation of, wait, there's not another one. I thought there was going to be another. Wait. Oh, it's about Cody. And you wouldn't have had any of that if it all been
Current guys.
the current active roster of guys that would have been like,
right.
Fuck yeah. Stop. Yeah. Fuck yeah. And then it's Cody wins. Cody wins.
It's sort of like making a greatest hits album and leaving off one of the greatest hits. People go, well, what about that one? You go, didn't you like the other 9 greatest hits? It's like, yeah, but you have to play that one. We like that one. Yeah.
So that was indicative of like, that's why you don't do those other guys. That's not passing the torch. It's about the rising up and making those guys. But that was their choice. And obviously that's a bigger thing. That's a much more exciting thing. And that's what you're always capitalizing on nostalgia. It's the climate we're in. And I don't blame for that. They did it extremely well.
Can I pitch another
It's
thing?
just my preference of like what it would be.
Can I pitch another thing that I thought about like late last night or this morning at some point in lieu of the Taker spot? You want another magical thing where the lights go out, have the lights go out. And when the lights come back on, it's whatever this continuation of the Bray Wyatt story is. It's Bo in the fucking Howdy or whatever. It's, you know what I mean? Like, and then it is that like, here is something new that might be continuing. That would have been a huge fucking reaction from the crowd.
That's
maybe,
a massive overshadowing.
Yeah. Oh, really? Okay.
From Beyond the Grave.
Well, yeah, I know. I mean, isn't Taker also from Beyond the Grave? They buried him in like 1994.
No. Not when he's wearing a hoodie.
I saw Yokozuna put him in the casket. I don't know. It was just an idea I had.
If only he had Naomi's glow hat, that would have been really. Her fucking
Shang Su. Wait, what's the character?
Kung Lao.
Kung Lao. There we go.
So all to the point of
yes.
Cody wins. It's fucking great. It's a
beautiful.
huge sigh of relief. It's a little unbelievable. It's like, wait, it happened. He really beat him. He really beat the guy.
Yeah.
To the credit of this era that is still lacking a name, that in these champions, in these people that we've seen, like Gunther being dethroned, Rowan being dethroned, this was about really trying to make a lot of stars and making these wins be epic and making the next person.
Right.
And you don't get that with triple threats and multi-man people matches, but it's just this fucking like, this is the guy. We've pounded it in for years now, and like, Cody's the fucking guy now.
Mm-hmm.
And Roman was the guy, and we're not taking anything away from him. He may come back and do things, but we have set up potential things with like Cody going against Rock one-on-one. We have all these good guys. We have Drew. A lot of shit going on. And that, to that point of what they did, like, that was so strong.
Yeah. And that I called that as that old school ending, that, Dusty era ending where like baby faces have to come out and put him on his shoulders. That's that feel good ending that I think makes everything feel so much more real. It makes it feel more like sport. I probably could have done without Bruce Pritchard waddle his ass down to the fucking ring, especially because I'm sure his name's going to be coming up in some lawsuits pretty soon as well.
So excited for that. It's like, oh, you're going to have to edit that part out.
100%.
Calling out Triple H, and then
we saw fucking Khan on TV acknowledged in some form, which was weird, but the Michael Cole moment,
so fucking joyless. It was crazy.
He really was like, I'll put a lot of money into you. Don't fuck this up.
Don't fuck this up. And then Triple H hugging Cody and going like, hey, we paid for so much goddamn pyro. You got to pose and do shit because we got to set this shit off. We can't just walk away with pyro.
Andrea Biller in the chat says all those guys worked with Dusty. I'm curious about that. Was everybody who came out a Dusty kid, so to speak? I mean, you got to figure obviously Roman and Seth.
LA Knight
probably missed.
I think is the one that probably didn't, but others having interactions with him in some form or other that Cena's clearly had to have met him numerous times.
Don't want to overshadow.
Are we talking like all the surprises guys, maybe?
Right. The Cole moment was really sweet and beautiful. I love that. What's her face?
He's hugging Cole and then he's like, "What's up, Graves? Hey."
You're also here. I mean, honestly, I like that. And I liked the way that Graves was like, he gave him the wink and he gave him the like fucking great job. And then Pat saying congrats, Cody, and like it felt earnest.
I love that they muted Pat.
Did they? They didn't mute him, did they?
He didn't say a thing during all the celebration, right?
Oh yeah. Did they mute him or was he just smart enough to shut the fuck up? Okay, never mind. But it was beautiful, and also Samantha Irvine, like. Her like having emotion in her voice as she does the calls. It's new. It's strange.
She's supposed to be not have any bias.
I don't know that it's
unprofessional.
I don't know that I want it all the time. I don't know that I want it all the time. But in moments like this, it does help. It adds to it. I want everybody to feel.
Kept his shit together. Did Fink fucking shed a tear when Ultimate Warrior won?
Brandy Rhodes. Brandy Rhodes kept her shit together too.
You got a bunch of Brandy. Oh my goodness.
All in all, it felt like Mania. It was exciting. It was surprising. It was fun. Again, I can nitpick. We can nitpick a lot of little moments. Oh, you know what? One moment I really fucking loved. I loved Roman hitting the crossroads and then Cody kicking out of it. And Roman goes, fucking that move sucks. That move doesn't beat anybody. Did you hear that?
I didn't catch that.
Oh yeah,
I saw
he hits
the moment
with
that I liked was Solo going like, "Finish it."
Oh yeah,
beat him, and Roman's going like, "I know."
But no, yeah.
And when Solo had too many, slowly I turn, step by step. Like, all right, come on, dude.
But
try to pick up your pace. You gotta get with us. Everybody's leaving you in the dust.
When Roman hit that move, Heyman is right on the outside. Or by the way, shout out to my pal Alex, who I don't think is going to listen to this, but Alex, longtime friend of mine, my cousin Paul's childhood best friend. So he's like my other cousin, right? Like another extended little brother of mine. He was there, showed up, doesn't watch, he watches wrestling in the fact that he's friends with us.
Yeah.
But when Paul Heyman showed up, he's like, oh yeah, what's this guy, Paul Heyman? So the rest of the night he was Paul Heyman. So that is his name now for all of eternity, Paul Heyman. So in any case, so Roman hits the crossroads and Paul Heyman is right there next to the ring. And that's when Roman stops and looks at him and he goes, fuck, I hate that move. That move sucks. That move doesn't beat anybody. And then Heyman says something humorous and he goes, it's okay. I'm having a good time. It's fun. I love whooping this kid's ass. And it was fucking great. Yeah. Some great moments.
What do you give this night? 1 to 10. 10 being great.
I
1
mean,
being not great.
I mean, this is like, it's gotta. I think this is like a 9. I think it's like a 9, if not 9.5. I mean, like all the things I wanted to happen happened really. With the exception of a few things that are, again, at the end of the day, I'm beating this dead horse, nitpicky things.
Yeah.
But
because with my nitpickiness of it too, and like what I wanted to see, what I thought about, and I don't know what's going to come out of this. Is Taker going to do something? Is Cena going to show up again and do stuff? I don't know.
In the post-match thing, Triple H said something to the extent of, what we have in store for Roman is going to be unbelievable, he said. And I'm like, that's high. That's setting a high bar.
Mind, like,
yeah.
Is it?
Hey,
I think I go 8 out of 10. I really dug it. I night 2. I'm going night 2s. Like it's, if this was just Mania, I know it doesn't cover a lot of ground, but man, it would have felt epic and big. And I overall, I like the structure that Triple H is putting in the shows where it's match to match to match. I know we got a lot of ads and other shit in between, but the matches are a big deal. And there's not a lot of extra fluff. This was for half of it was a McMahon-less Mania. Yeah. But we only had one night where we knew it was McMahon-less, and whether Stephanie was already behind the scenes and saying like, this is going to happen. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. It was different. Yeah.
It felt exciting, and I really, really enjoyed it as a whole. We did get some hotline calls, so we're going to continue from Mass Llama, who called earlier and talked about the ads. He continued pre night 2, and then called again after night 2, and we're gonna play those back to back.
Okay.
And so here's the rest of.
Will it be obvious when there's a split?
Yep. Here we go.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to night 2. I know I was a little down on night 1 in the Discord. I think I'm prepared now for excessive ad shock. I'm prepared. I'm mentally ready. And I'm looking forward to night 2. I think there's going to be some good stuff going on. Anyway, guys, you all take care. Hope you had a great WrestleMania weekend. And I'll call you after night 2. Bye.
It's bits of retribution. I was wrong. Whenever I talked about, like, not wanting Cody to win and, not wanting the match, maybe being a little hard on the guy, I was wrong. That was beautiful. That was great.
Like Michael Cole said, I love pro wrestling. So, yeah, kudos to Cody. That was just a heck of a moment when you don't forget.
So there's Mass Llama with his before and after. Clearly was won over by the celebration, and I get it.
He's been through war, that guy.
Yeah.
The change in tone.
Well, he's not the only one.
It was incredibly sentimental.
I want to end it with this because, again, we're now cusping a pay-per-view length episode here. Andrea Beeler did the same.
Just want to say Andrea
Beeler did the same.
She gave it a 10 out of 10, night 2.
10 out of 10.
In the chat right now.
Here is her calling before and after the main event of night 2. And I appreciate this.
Hey, compadres, this is Andrea. Just wanted to call before the Cody and Roman match started because I'm literally sitting here sobbing at the entrance that man just had. I love him so much. Let's see what happens. Let's see if he can finish the story. I know he can. I'll check back with y'all soon. He did it, y'all. I literally watched him all the build up. Oh my god. This is wrestling for me. I love this man so much. I'm so happy.
Andrea Baylor weeping for the American Nightmare. Andrea, thanks for calling and sharing your emotion with us. I mean, come on. Like, if it hits you like that, you know it's good.
That's the best.
It's the fucking best. That's
the best. Like, that's what you want. You want to feel. You want to be totally engaged. The surprises are cool. The shock is cool. When it comes to like a Money in the Bank thing or a stunt, and you go like, holy shit, that's nuts. But at the end of the day, you want to be so invested in the fucking bullshit fake wrestling.
Yeah.
That everyone's all your like borderline friends who go like, you still watching that shit?
Oh God, my sister, when I was explaining to her that we were going to watch Mania, she looked at Alexandra, was like, you watch that too? And I was just like, oh fuck, it's so annoying.
Yeah, that it's you watch fucking 15 Marvel movies all build to something, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm fucking crying. Tony Stark is gonna snap his fingers.
Right.
All that same thing that you've been on this journey of your guy, your gal, your multiple people, and then the thing comes to fruition and you're just in it and wrecked or overjoyed. That's the best.
Yeah, it's fucking gorgeous. They did a great job. They handled it so well. Yeah, there's WrestleMania. Christopher Daria.
This one had a nice roller coaster of emotions. This had fun. This had, a lot of tenseness, a lot of joy, a lot of sadness. Like it's fucking great. Like night 2 was spot on, and it's if you haven't watched it, if you're listening to this and you haven't watched this, go fucking watch night 2. It's great.
I just want to give Chris Daria his moment because he also gave us his rating 8.5 overall. Night 1 was a 7 for him. Night 2 was a 10. So if it was just based on the night 2, which is, WrestleMania, he gives it a 10. Well, that'll do it for the program. Really thanks everybody who joined us live for this extra long WrestleMania review. Listen, we stopped doing
an XL size.
Yeah, we stopped doing the week to week coverage of wrestling because Scott and I honestly kind of got bored with doing that every week, and it turned the shows into obligatory stuff.
Jake,
so what? Am I not supposed to say that?
How could it be? Because do you know what's happening 2 days from now? From the time of this recording, Jake?
Watch Along Wednesday?
I know we're not doing news, but Jake, I know there's a lot of stuff going on.
Uh-oh.
On Dynamite.
Oh, shit. Oh, man.
They're going to be showing the footage from All In at Wembley Stadium backstage where CM Punk got in a skirmish with Jungle Boy Jack Perry. All will be revealed.
So if listen.
This is the counter. This is the counter to all things that are Mania, and somehow they're going to make the CM Punk fans not go, yeah, that's cool. He beat up that little guy. That's awesome.
Again, in the show about fighting, the characters that you want to beat tough, you're going to show the guy that is wrestling somewhere else being mean and scary and fighting too good. This is not, even if it makes Punk look like shit professionally, it makes your guys look, all right, never mind. This isn't what this is about.
We're getting, I'm just saying,
I know.
we're close to getting into review territory again. Okay, because there's shit like this where it's like, oh, this is a whole episode. So
yeah, that
I do kind of miss it now.
You have that to look forward to next week. But yeah, this was a special time of year, special episode. So we did one of these. Thanks everybody who joined us. Once again, if you want to support the show, the best way that you can do that is becoming a patron over at patreon.com/PWPalskis. Just a couple bucks a month gets you access to the weekly live stream. So you can be there with us as we record these. It doesn't matter what tier you're at. Everybody gets access to this so that you can give your input, just like those who joined us today could give their input and immediately change the show. Their opinions are now our opinions on the show. You are ultimately our co-hosts, all of the patrons who join us live. And of course, it's not your only way to do that. You can also call the hotline at 747-666-5606, 747-666-5606, or you can send a voice memo to hotline at pwpalskis.com, and we'll play those on the program like we did today. Thanks to all of our patrons who show us continued support. Scott Narver, we have to thank all of our current Patreon Palskis.
And thank you on top of that I encourage this a lot, and there's a lot of vulnerability being exposed, and I know that jokes could be made about it. And we joke with our callers a lot.
Sure.
But I thoroughly love and appreciate that you shared your real emotions and you're calling after Mania Night 2, after Cody winning. And if it's Andrea crying, if it's Mas Lama being fucking like taken aback, that you're calling in those moments. I love that.
Absolutely.
I love
Same.
that, because you certainly don't have to call then. You can call 9 hours later where you're like, I was like, well, the problem with that thing was this. And, you can be a little bit more guarded and shielded with it. But I really appreciate calling and sharing that with us and the listeners, that we get to hear those moments. That's great.
I completely I concur is what I do. I also occur. I have occurred. All right. Speaking of occurring,
where the fuck was she during all this? Why didn't she come out?
I don't know. She had trouble with her contact.
So thank you to all of our current Patreon Palskis, the only show where you get a retribution name as well as a maximum male model name. Why? Because Uncle Howdy ain't going to do it. Tell you that. So thank you to AJ0314, aka Binary, aka Matrice69, Alex Pierce, apparently doing big things in WWE, according to Jake. Alex Pierce, aka Figs, aka The Toys. Alice Raider, aka Invasion, aka Yves Andrea Beeler, aka Pollen Hate, aka Achu Detest. Curtis Mason, aka Hurtis, aka Ouche. Gilbert Short, aka Goliathon, aka Batal Under Ruse. Mas Lama, aka Spitz, aka Jakara Lover. Michael Beltran, aka Limestone, aka La Natural. Miguel Diaz, aka Bipod, aka Too Much Husk. Mike Lucas, aka Hackensack, aka Luger Testicle. Strong Style, aka Gaines, aka the current PWP champ. Suicide, aka AKA. Tim Bemis, aka War Trek, aka Tussle Quest. Tim Redbeard, aka Bloodfuzz, aka Blue Diffuse. Tom Hader, aka Cupid, aka Cherub, and Tony Griggs, aka Big Griggs, aka Grand Grisois.
Thanks to each and every one of you for continued support of the program. Once again, you can follow us on all the socials at PW Palskis. You can find me at Jake Lloyd Bacon. He's at Scott Narber. When was the last time you checked out the shop? You can go to pwpalskis.com, click the shop. We have fantastic stuff there. We've got hats like this beautiful hat I'm wearing now. We've got mugs, a bunch of different fun designs, some that are specifically PWP branded, some that are just fun wrestling branded stuff. You can get phone cases featuring the likeness of Machismo Guy and Lady Beth, trademark, not copyright infringed at all whatsoever. Get yourselves a Hot Dog Mania shirt or hoodie. There's so much stuff there that you can check out. Please, snagging some merch is a great way to support the show, help us keep the lights on, in addition to becoming a patron. And last but certainly not least, ratings and reviews. We don't ask for them a lot. We don't drive this point home as much as we do the Patreon and the other shit. But your ratings and reviews help us a lot on Apple Podcasts as well as on Spotify, which now does offer ratings as well. You can also leave comments on episodes directly on Spotify now, and I do check those nowadays. I've set up so that I get an email and it says like somebody has responded to your episode. So as we do get those, I'll try to remember when we're recording to pop into the email and make sure we're covering all that. But that'll do it. Scott, this was a blast. Listen, it's a bummer that we can't watch WrestleManias together, but it does feel that way when we're in the Discord. So again, I really appreciate that. This was a blast reliving Mania weekend with you. Any last words before we get out of here?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the overall sentiment, as you prefaced in the beginning, that it's like, yeah, we're nitpicking, we're doing this, we're doing that. This could have been this way, this could have been that way. Tom Connolly, that was watching it with us from AfterBuzz, had, I think, put it really well. That after Cody had won, he goes, sometimes just give us what we want.
Right.
And that's the best.
Right.
Just give us what we want. And that's really, really good. They gave us what we wanted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't matter if we can see it from a fucking mile away.
Can't argue with that.
It's great.
Well, thanks again to everybody. We hope you had fun hanging out with us. It's always a blast hanging out with you, the Pro Wrestling Palskis.
Hey there, my name is Wingman Steve.
And I'm Chris.
Chris what?
Yeah, I'm not saying it.
Come on, man, say it. It's cool.
I'm Chris 183.
Yeah, Chris 183. That's cool. What do you call a cow that plays an instrument?
I have no idea.
A musician.
Anyways, Steve and I are both 30-something dads.
But we are super cool, awesome 30-something dads who love to nerd out over the power-chorded glory that was 90s and early 2000s pop-punk music.
We are both huge fans of the pop-punk genre, even though nowadays we're pure Baby Shark.
Join us on High School Never Ends, the Pop-Punk Dad podcast, where we'll discuss, debate, and revel in a music genre that we feel deserves much more love.
At least once we get the kids to bed.
It's High School Never Ends at hsnepod.com and wherever podcasts are found.
It's Dragon Wagon.